It's nicknamed Thunder Valley, this spot in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains where the sound of NASCAR racing engines is about to echo through the hills around the spectacular Bristol Motor Speedway. Fans who filled the hotels for miles or camped on the surrounding hillsides starting to make their way into this massive racing stadium where a lot of action happens inside a pretty small space. Classic confrontations, storybook endings, and more, all part of the magic that is Bristol.
Despite every tale you have been told, every drama you've witnessed, every thriller you have survived, the story of today will not be written by anyone but you. Pavement is your parchment, skill is your quill, and a drive for immortality, all the character development you need. 3 races, 3 checkered flags, 3 familiar victors are simply a subplot to today's greater narrative. Experience and determination collide before you. Inside a 40-foot wide half-mile oval of scrapping metal and twisting plots. Will you tear a page from an unwritten story?
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about right there, boys!
Or will experience dominate today's race and tomorrow's storyline? The prologue complete. A race scripted with heroes, villains, drama, and action. Eyes wide, plots thicken, hearts quicken, steering to an ending no one could have ever seen coming but you. This is how the story goes.
Oh, Bristol, quite the unique place. This little half-mile track with super speedway-sized banking and speed, celebrating its 50th anniversary season in 2011. I mentioned a lot happens in a small space. Well, the final practice for the NASCAR Sprint Cup teams literally just finished. Those teams and cars will get pushed back behind the wall toward the transporters over the next few minutes, and the nationwide teams will quickly move into place and set up for their 300-lap event that begins very shortly. The degree of difficulty for this race on a scale of 1 to 10, make it about a 12. One driver's going to celebrate at day's end, but history tells us there's a pretty good chance some others might find themselves boiling over.
We're right in the middle of it. What the you do that for? I mean, get low, stay low, stay low. Spin it behind him.
Harvick gets 5th. Logano gets dumped to 14th. Oh, the contact. Unbelievable. Kyle, will he retaliate? Yes, he turns him. That right there is a payback, folks. That's all that is.
That's the kind of thing that's made this track one of the sport's most popular and resulted in this massive layout and an incredible scene for our ESPN pit studio to be part of. Welcome to NASCAR Countdown. Alan Bestwick with 9-time Bristol winner Rusty Wallace and team owner Big Brad Daugherty. What's your take on why this track is so popular with drivers and fans?
Oh, man, it's 160,000 people here, Alan. I mean, they're towering like all over the place. It's one of the most dramatic short tracks in all of racing. Everybody loves Bristol. This baby's been voted #1 by the fans year after year, and the drivers, too. Man, I love this place. I couldn't wait to get here.
Every one of these drivers at some point in their career has raced on a short track as they came up through the ranks. Yep. Bristol is the Super Bowl of short track racing. Everyone is just so excited to be here. The fans are excited. The drivers are excited. Even Lloyd, our catering guy, he's fired up. It's palpable. You can feel the excitement in the air, and this is a signature win if you can put it on your resume.
You mentioned a lot of guys come up racing on short tracks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of half-mile racetracks all around the country, but very few like this. The turns banked as steeply as a lot of super speedways are. Places like Charlotte and Daytona have banking that size, not on a half-mile track. Well, they've got it here at Bristol, and that banking was altered in 2007, so it's even more steep at the top of the track than the bottom, the variable banking they call it. You won't find this kind of layout at any other half-mile anywhere, especially with that kind of a stadium surrounding it. So, Rusty, for those of us that have never driven in a race car at Bristol, what's it like?
It's hair-raising. It really is. And everything happens very, very fast at Bristol. So you got to be on your game. I mean, you got to be on it. You got to be looking in front of you, looking behind you. And everything happens much, much quicker than it does at a place like Daytona or Charlotte or Michigan or a track like that, Alan. So it's definitely one of the toughest tracks to drive. And it's a track you got to be on it, but you got to be very, very patient at the same time. I don't know if I can do that, but that's what you got to do.
No, he's right. And believe it or not, I have driven a race car around this racetrack.
And you did good.
Well, I did good, but it's more than hair raises. It's more like life-changing flying around this place. But the percentages show you have to be very, very aggressive. You have to stay up front. You have to be patient, but you have to also keep moving forward. Talk to Joe Nemechek, former champion in this series with 16 wins throughout the series. He says you have to take every bit of real estate that you can get a hold of and maintain it throughout the day. At the end of the day, you don't luck into a win at Bristol. You take a win at Bristol.
Well, besides the overriding story of the day, which is racing at Bristol and who's going to win, there is a headline 1A on this day. During Friday's practice sessions, teams saw a very heavy wear on their right side tires, unexpectedly heavy wear, a right side tire that had not been raced at this track before. So a meeting with all the crew chiefs was called, and a change was made. Overnight, Goodyear trucked in a different right side tire combination, one that was raced here successfully last August. Cars will start the race on the tire they've been having difficulty with, but a competition caution is going to be thrown at lap 25, and all teams will switch to the replacement tire at that time. The left side tires, by the way, no problem at all, but a new right side tire going to be put into use 25 laps into this race. NASCAR's Vice President of Competition, Robin Pemberton, was one of those decision makers, and Robin joins us now from down in the garage area. First, thanks for the time. If the tire last August here was successful, why was there an effort to change it?
Well, Alan, one of our things that we do throughout the year is every Tuesday we have a meeting with Goodyear, and we discuss the past, the present, and the future. And even though we had a great tire here last August, we through conversations with the teams, they felt like the track rubbered in a little too much. They needed a little more grip, and they thought it'd put on a better show. So Goodyear went to work, and they came up with a tire that they thought would be a good replacement for it. And, as we showed up today, this weekend, it was just a little too much wear. But, we never quit trying to make the racing better for the fans. Even though we have a good race, we always look at things in different ways to make it better and make it more competitive, which I'm sure Rusty will weigh in on that. You got to have good tires to have good races.
Can't race without them. Now, this backup plan is kind of part of what's become standard operating procedure between NASCAR and Goodyear. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and it's been going on for a number of years. As you know, that not all the tires are used every weekend, and Goodyear is always, they have warehouses full of tires, whether they're in Akron or in the Charlotte area, and they're kept in a nice, comfortable, cool building all the time. And we have selections of tires that we can go to if we need a backup plan at almost any racetrack all across the country.
A natural question, why not start today's race on the incoming right side tire rather than 25 laps on the outgoing tire and then make the change?
Yeah, and that's a good question. It's a 50-50 split, because either way you were going to be cold turkey on a set of tires because they didn't get here last night and mounted until this morning. So we felt like it was good for the tires that they've been practicing on for a day now, that they started the race and got a few laps under their belt, and then at lap 25 we'll throw a competition caution. They'll put the new tires on, and they'll go from there. That way the teams all have an adequate amount of tires to finish the race on. They should have 4 sets sitting in the pits.
Thanks for the time, Robin. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Alan. Thank you.
Robin Pemberton, NASCAR's Vice President of Competition. So how is this change, 25 laps into the race, going to affect the teams and the cars? The crew chief who won the most recent race here is with Dr. Jerry Punch now. Doc, he's had a lot to think about overnight.
Alan, he certainly has, and championship crew chief Jason Ratcliffe and Kyle Busch. And Jason, let me ask you, first off, what was the biggest issue? We just heard from Robin Pemberton with the tire, the right side tire you were given to start the weekend with.
Well, when we started yesterday, we didn't know a lot about the tire. We haven't run this tire here yet. And Goodyear, they're always trying to improve, make things better. And they've been listening to the competitors. Hey, what do we need to make the tire better at Bristol? So you got a couple of different variables here. You want the tire to have enough grip where the drivers can go out and compete, but at the same time, you don't want to have any wear issues. So they brought a different tire, trying to hit a happy medium to fit both of those variables. and it just wasn't laying rubber down on the racetrack. After the first practice, now it was very cold, in the morning. It was about mid-40s, and we would come in and you would just see a dust, just a powder, and it wasn't putting any rubber down, so the tires would cord in about 25 laps. Now, as the temperatures came up during the day, once it got in the 70s, you started seeing it stick to it, to itself. It started putting a little bit of rubber down. The left side probably contributed a little bit, and you started getting these little gummy, like this. So the tires started sticking once the temperatures came up. So I think track temp could have been part of the problem, but I think NASCAR and Goodyear did a good job of being proactive and saying, hey, we could possibly have an issue here, especially if we get some weather, if we get some rain and wash the rubber off the racetrack. We could have a problem. We don't want to do that. So I think they were proactive. They did a good job of going to a plan B, and it should prove to be a good race both on Saturday and Sunday for the fans.
All right, Jason Ratcliffe. And also, by the way, guys, when they make that lap 25 change, Jason said we got to make sure we have enough clearance with that splitter up front. That could be a concern for a lot of crew chiefs up and down pit road. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. And let's dig a little deeper into the difference between the outgoing and incoming right side tires. We bring in our champion crew chief, Tim Brewer, from the Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim?
Thanks, Alan. Goodyear's always working in the interest of the crew chiefs, the drivers. A lot of input to make the tires better. But here, they came out here with a softer tire. This is actually what happened to the tire 25, 30 laps into the run. Reason being, we talked about the coolness up here and the soft tire. What this tire does, it's soft. It gives the cars a lot of grip. So what they do, they bring back a tire that's got a harder compound, this layer of rubber right here. This gauge, about 5/30 seconds. What that's going to do is enable the cars to run a full pit stops and not have any problem, weather-related or wear-related, today in Bristol. AB?
Tim, thanks. Rusty, Brad, reaction to the change, and what does it mean for the race?
I'm glad they did it, but I personally don't think they were going to have a problem. It's got warmer here in Bristol. It's rubbered up. I mean, it's great that they do have a B plan in place. But, guys, I will tell you, this is a very, very small change, this new tire, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. And now they do have, what do you call it, insurance plan in place that we're not going to have a problem. So, as a driver, I wouldn't be concerned about this thing. I don't think it's going to make my car handle much different at all.
Yeah, I don't think many of the competitors are concerned at all. But for me, though, I'm very impressed with NASCAR for having a backup plan that they could implement so quickly, and to have a situation like this come up and they can handle it, and it's almost seamless. I applaud them because this was an excellent effort to get those tires here so quick.
So there's already been a lot happening in a small space inside the racetrack. Going to be a lot happening in a small space inside the racetrack and on Countdown as we continue from Thunder Valley.
Oh, man, now we're talking. It's lunchtime, baby.
There you go. You all enjoy these. Yeah.
ESPN2. NASCAR Countdown is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at CodeSpotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
It is a gorgeous day here in Thunder Valley for race number 4 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season, happening shortly on the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway in East Tennessee. Qualifying for this race held a few hours ago. The top 4 spots and 5 of the first 6 nationwide championship-eligible drivers.
Yes, sir.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Jason Leffler share the front row. Kyle Busch, the Top Cup qualifier, back in 5th. We will hear from Stenhouse shortly. First, Jamie Little is with Jason Leffler right now.
And you mentioned it, great qualifying effort for Jason Leffler. So, Jason, what kind of setup did you guys end up going with, considering the new car and the tire swap that's upcoming?
Well, I have a certain feel I look for here. We always run fairly good here, and the AccuDoc Chevy was great off the trailer, so just try to keep the balance kind of neutral and go from there. I mean, no one really knows what to expect. We have some notes from last year on that tire. We know what to expect with the tire, but we don't know what this tire with the race car. So we'll all find out on lap 25. So hopefully we'll have a good pit stop and come out up front. And car's been running great. I got to thank everybody at Turner Motorsports and at the Hendrick Motor Shop. So looking forward to the race.
Half of your starts here at Bristol, you finished top 10, but that was all with the old car. How are you expecting this new car to impact the racing today?
Well, I think it's going to be really good. Every race we've had with this new car, it's been pretty exciting. So, obviously it's a bigger, wider car, so that part of it's going to be more difficult. But it's fun trying to figure out how to make this thing go around the corner, and whether it's with your driving or setup wise. So, it should be really good.
All right, Jason Leffler hopes to get to victory lane today, just like his Turner Motorsports teammate Justin Allgaier did a year ago.
We are at the Coliseum of Concrete, Bristol Motor Speedway in East Tennessee.
Justin Allgaier has been nothing short of amazing, but Allgaier will have to come from deep in the field.
Pole sitter Brad Keselowski up on the high side, and we are green.
It looks like the longer they run, the better Brad Keselowski's car gets.
Allgaier, strong run out and clicking off some pretty good laps.
Get yourself in a rhythm, get comfortable, pick them off.
Team Penske running 1-2.
Steady work there, Justin. Use your head, bud.
Look at the captain. The expression never changes.
Be patient, man. Be the man.
He's got a good run off turn 2. Whoa, and he runs up on him, and can he close it? He does. He takes the lead.
You're the winner, baby.
Yeah, baby! Yeah! That's what I'm talking about right there, boys. You guys are awesome.
His first win in his 43rd start. And the captain goes 1-2 for the first time in the Nationwide Series.
And you get a little reaction out of every driver who watches his first win. That's kind of fun, but you've got a new car this year and hasn't been tested here much except for all day yesterday. So can anything you did there translate to what's happening here today?
Well, the one good thing is that we didn't get much testing on the tire we're going to run on. You know, we didn't get much testing anyways here, but we haven't had any testing on this new tire. The good thing is that victory lane shot right there was on the tire that we're going to about 25 laps in. So that's a good thing, but everybody here at Turner Motorsports has done an awesome job. The Hendrick power has been just phenomenal. And the Branch Chevrolet's been good all weekend. I mean, we unloaded off the truck a little bit slower than we liked, but once the little bit of rubber that started to lay down went down, we were pretty good, and we feel like we got a great race car for today's race.
You mentioned the tire. What feel do you expect out of the race car once that tire is bolted on? A winning feeling, I suppose, but what do you think the car will feel like?
Well, I think that's the one thing that's kind of an unknown still is what this tire is going to do. From what I can gather, it's a little bit harder, but it lays rubber a little bit better. So, I think that we're going to probably slip and slide a little bit more to start with until we can get the setup honed in. But, Nationwide and Insurance has done a great job with this series and really propelling it to the next level. The racing has been just awesome all year this year, the first 3 races. So I don't think we'll have anything to expect anything, or I don't have any reason to expect anything different today. I think the racing's going to be great. Hopefully we can stay ahead of those Cup guys. It's 3 Nationwide regulars up in the first 3 starting spots, so that's pretty awesome. We need to keep it that way, and actually I think it may be even 4. So definitely want to keep it that way and hopefully go for win number 2.
Going for 2 in a row. Excited about today, Alan.
Dave, and Justin Allgaier is our in-race reporter for ESPN today. Besides the in-race discussions, we've already asked Justin many of the questions you submitted in advance. The answers are on ESPN.com's NASCAR page under Ask the Driver. Let's follow up on a couple things here. Before the Las Vegas race, we talked about the Turner Motorsports team that Allgaier and Jason Leffler drive for and their potential. They won the race. Surprised?
Not really. I mean, Mr. Turner made some big changes this year. He switched manufacturers. I don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing. He went from Toyota to Chevrolet. He's went to Hendrick Engines. Hendrick's helping the team a lot. I mean, Mr. Turner has put a lot of money changing all this stuff around, but it looks like it's paid off for him with his first victory. Now he's just hoping to get some more.
What's the win do for them?
Yeah, it's huge. As the sponsors invest in your company as a team owner, they're your life's blood. That's how you survive and participate at this level. And when you win or run up front in the top 5, do those types of things, it strengthens that bond as business partners. It makes everything better. And as you look forward, it gives them an opportunity to plan on being a part of your business's future, and that's what you need to survive.
Justin Allgaier, a year ago, I think we all kind of looked at him as being one of those next big thing kind of guys, driving for Roger Penske, got the first win. Then he didn't win again. Penske couldn't find a sponsor for him. He had to change teams at the end of the year. Where's Justin stand in people's eyes right now?
Well, right now, I mean, any driver who wins this first race, all the fans are always saying, hey, is it real? Did the guy really do it? Is it a real deal? And in their minds, he needs to do it again to really prove himself and to get in the club, I call it. So in my mind right now, Justin knows how to drive the car. We all know that. He just needs to go out there and win again to cement himself as one of the regular winners in NASCAR, and all the fans will understand that and will say, hey, he's the guy, man.
He's just like a lot of these other young guys, though, Russ. He's got a lot to prove. And I spoke to Justin earlier, and he said he feels a lot of pressure today. This is his favorite racetrack. He wants to come here and run well no matter what. Just like he said this guy, Rusty Wallace, did. When Rusty showed up here, it doesn't matter if he's driving a 4-door station wagon. He was going to be up front trying to win the race. Justin said he wants to accomplish those things. No matter what he's in, who's crew chiefing, what kind of car, he wants to run up front here. A lot of pressure he's putting on himself to run well.
Man, them station wagons, they were harder to drive.
Allgaier starting inside of row number 2 for today's game as we get set to go in Bristol. Home game for Trevor Bayne, the Knoxville native, getting ready to race before the home fans for the first time since that Daytona 500 win. Trevor Bayne, next. The 58th NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway in East Tennessee set to go shortly. 43 drivers going 300 laps on the world's fastest half mile. Field includes 3 home state drivers, one of them 20-year-old Trevor Bayne from Tennessee. He's got a huge crowd of supporters going to be out here today cheering for him. Now, it's a long way from Knoxville hopeful to Daytona 500 winner, but actually a pretty short drive from this track over to Trevor's hometown.
So we're here in Knoxville, and you guys are going to hang out with me today. I got picture proof that last night we had a good time. This is me. That's Ricky. He's looking fresh right there.
Thanks for pointing me out, Trevor.
No problem. We're at the car wash. The car wash, baby! Getting some fresh shine on the Ford F-150. Right now, we're headed to my house. So this is what my little brother learned this week. We taught him how to ride this thing without training wheels. Let's see what he's got. Yeah! He's rolling now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fairview Baptist Church.
Well, this is it. This is where Trevor thrilled him with his testimony.
Got the speed class Sunday. That's pretty cool. This is called the filling station. This is where we do our Sunday schools and stuff like that. I've been trying to teach myself guitar a little bit here. Thank you, brother. You're the man. Please everything. Yeah.
Pictures going on Facebook.
Is it? All right, that'll work.
Bye, Trevor.
Sunshine in Knoxville, Tennessee. Thanks to the sunny weather, I got to change shirts. And so we're good. Continue the tour. So we're at Gibbs High School, where I went to high school my sophomore year, and also where Kenny Chesney went to school. Let's see you do the hurdles.
You want to?
Yeah, can you do them?
Yeah.
Go. Dang, that's Sports Center top 10 right there, I think. This is crazy business. Check that out. We got some love up in here. I like it, Gresham. We got Grandpa in front of us going about 10 miles an hour with his brakes on. We go up there and bump him a little bit, get him rattled. We're going to go play some paintball, have some fun. Check it out. I'm just honored to be on there with Jimmy Johnson. Don't really take this thing off for much, but I don't want to get paint splattered all up in it. Y'all ready for this? I'm gonna break that way. I'm going to that little bunker deal over there.
Game on!
Yeah, baby. That was intense. I got my Sharpie in hand. We're here for Food City Race Night 2011. Looks like there's a big crowd this year, so this will be good. Well, guys, thanks for spending the day with me here in Knoxville, but we got some fans to get to here, so hopefully we'll see you soon.
Well, at the age of 5, he came here to meet his childhood hero, Jeff Gordon, and 2 years ago, he made his NASCAR debut here in the Nationwide Series car. This place has already been very special to Trevor Bayne. And Trevor, today, what is the emotion when you look up here in these stands and see so many family, friends, and fans who have come here just to watch you race?
It's unbelievable, Jerry. I mean, this is way more than I could ever dreamed. Everything that's happened through my whole career, not just this year, it's been really a dream come true and a huge blessing. God's been so good to us, but to be here and actually have people watching me, I mean, I remember coming here, like you said, when I was 5 years old, coming to watch my favorite drivers, and now I've got little kids coming up to me saying they want to be like me, so it's really humbling, and it's such a cool opportunity to be able to drive race cars every weekend and to be able to do it in Bristol Motor Speedway in this bullfighting style arena. It looks like, I mean, it's just the coolest feeling in the world.
Now, you told me in an interview when you were 12 years old, just down the street here in Bristol, you said, I want to win my first big race at Bristol Motor Speedway. You messed that up by winning the Daytona 500, but what's it going to take for you to win your first nationwide race here in the home state of Tennessee?
Yeah, I can't believe I messed it up that bad, man. But no, I mean, I would love to win my first nationwide race here. This place has always been pretty good to us. We've always been fast here, but we haven't got that win yet. So maybe it could be this weekend. Our Ford Mustang's really fast this weekend. Our teammates on the pole, Carl's 7th, we're starting 4th, and I think we're going to have a good shot at it. So we'll see what we can do.
Hey, good luck today.
Thank you.
Well, and he rolls off 4th and hopes to maybe make history here with the locals watching from nearby Knoxville, Tennessee.
Check that out. Some of the Bayne backers in the grandstand today here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, Trevor mentioned his teammate. That would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr., driver of that number 6 machine for Roush Fenway Racing. Check this out. The difference a year can make. 2010, Stenhouse struggled, and I mean struggled to start the season. Got on solid footing mid-season, and now to start 2011, boy, he's been good. And today he starts on the pole looking for that first win. Jamie?
And Alan, he's the only driver in the field who's finished in the top 10 in the first 3 races this season. So looking back to a year ago, what has been the main on-track difference, Ricky?
Just being comfortable and the whole team having confidence and making good decisions and staying focused. It's a combination of a lot of things. My team stood behind me, Jack Roush, Ford Racing, Black Angus Beef, and just everybody had a big part in it. And it's not just one little thing.
After your pole qualifying run earlier today, you said it felt like you were riding a bull for 2 laps around this place. What does it feel like to race 300 laps?
It's crazy. You got to have patience and get in a rhythm. Qualifying's not, rhythm. You get it all, and, that's all it had. And, the race, you got to kind of maintain your car. You got to maintain the tires. You run a lot of laps on the tires here. We got 300 laps. Got to stay focused, stay patient, and not make any mistakes pit road or out on the racetrack and keep the fenders on it.
All right, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will lead the field to green for the 2nd time in his career. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. Let's talk about these 2 drivers. Trevor Bayne. A year ago, we all thought Bayne was a contender to win a race in the Nationwide Series. Now he's won the Daytona 500. What's next for Trevor?
Well, Trevor just needs to go out and win it again and do another win to cement himself in what I call the club. I mean, when he won the Daytona 500, don't get me wrong, that was a huge win. That was a big, big win for Trevor or anybody. But a lot of people said, man, is he the real deal? He's only 20 years old. Am I really looking at a driver that's going to do this again, or was this kind of a fluke? Well, I don't think it was a fluke. He ran up front throughout the whole week at Daytona. He looked fantastic. But to put all the naysayers to bed, he needs to go do it again and get it over with.
Just join the club. There you go. 6 drivers have scored their first Nationwide Series win here at Bristol. And the list has a couple interesting quirks to it. Look at how many races overall in the Nationwide Series they were at when they won here, and how many races at Bristol when they won here.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse is right in the mix of those numbers, isn't he? It kind of falls right in between. Could be his day.
Making his 43rd start in the Nationwide Series today. Stenhouse was a wreck, or a series of wrecks, to start last year. Jack Roush sat him down at one point. What was it Jack saw that made him stick with it?
Yeah, I spoke to Ricky about that. But first things first, Trevor needs to keep his boys off the track. That was awful. They're not track athletes. Ricky Stenhouse told me today, I talked to him this morning about the situation last year. Wrecked some race cars, then Jack sat him down, and he was trying to figure this whole thing out. He said the one thing that really got him going is when Jack told him, look, you can do this. You're a talented young man. Take some of the pressure off yourself. Go out and let the racing come to you. He said he did that when he came back. He felt so much more confident, and he went out there today and blistered these boys in a qualifying lap out here.
Brad, you got to believe, though, that Jack Roush was looking at Ricky Stenhouse and saw some snapshots of greatness out of Ricky Stenhouse.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of times he really ran up front, then he would crash or had a bad pit stop or blew a motor or something went wrong. But Jack saw all the good things and said, this kid can get it done, and I think this kid can get it done today. I really do.
That'd be interesting to see if we can have another first-time winner here at Bristol. With all the people who are here at Bristol today and all the people who will be here all weekend long, there's one that's not, that we want to take a moment and acknowledge. Jeff Bird, the longtime president and general manager of this speedway, passed away last October after a long illness. Jay Bird, as most of us knew him, was a champion of the fan and of this track. He wanted everybody who came here to have the best time possible, and if they didn't, he wanted to know why and how he could fix it. The sponsor of tomorrow's race, Food City Stores, has taken its name off the race and named it the Jeff Bird 500. A wonderful tribute to a wonderful man.
Every time you saw Jay Bird, he was always smiling, always trying to help everybody. Just probably one of the greatest promoters I was ever around, Alan. And Brad, he's just a neat guy.
He was a great guy, and what a classy move by Food City to do that, to honor Jeff Bird in that way. I tell you, every time I ever called Jeff and I needed something, a race ticket or something like that, he would just go over the top. So it got to where when I would see him, I would almost duck and try to hide because I felt so bad because he tried to over-accommodate you. Just a wonderful man, and we really, really miss Jeff Bird.
Well, fans have come again to the place that Jeff Bird helped make so special, the Bristol Motor Speedway. They're ready for today's NASCAR Nationwide Series 300 lapper that begins shortly. The NCAA Women's Division I Basketball Championship continues on ESPN2 tonight with regional coverage of the first round. Some good matchups. Notre Dame taking on Utah, UCLA, Montana, Kentucky against Hampton, the number 1 seed Stanford against UC Davis. It's the NCAA Women's Division I Basketball Championship presented by Capital One on ESPN2 tonight at 6:30 Eastern. ESPN, the exclusive home of the NCAA Women's Championship. Driver introductions just getting underway here in Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. The 43 who will race 300 laps in today's NASCAR Nationwide Series event here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. This race, the 4th of the season, the 3rd 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, saw Danica Patrick getting a top 5 finish, her best result in a stock car thus far, which leads us to this track, a whole new type of track and style of racing for Patrick to learn. She spent a lot of time on the track Friday trying to figure it out.
This is not only unique in its own of a short track, but short tracks are my biggest challenge.
If something feels funny, I was going to tell you everything feels a little funny out there. I'm loose in the middle and off, so it's a handful. I can't get on the power off the corner very well. Are we going to get it to the point where I'm comfortable enough for the race? I really don't like this setup, so I'm pissed.
I had to get on him this morning for a setup, an element on the setup that I'm like, you know I don't like that. Why did you do that? And I was loose.
Probably a little bit loose, I guess. Time I just got off the brake and just carried too much speed through, and when I tried to get going, it just came around, you know. So, but I mean, it did kind of direction the car. It turned the car.
All right, feedback from Danica on the radio to her team. Rusty and Brad, biggest thing she's got going for her entering her first Bristol race is what?
She's got confidence. She finished 4th in the last race she ran at Allen. I mean, she did a really good run, a very, very convincing 4th place finish. So right now, she's got so much confidence that she can tell these crew guys what she wants. She's going to say, I want this setup, I want that. And if she doesn't get it, she's going to complain about it. And I think it's the right thing to do.
But I think that confidence is waning a little bit, Rusty. I think she is really concerned about trying to find that sweet spot on this short track. And I'm so tired of everyone talking about female driver this, woman driver that. She's not in the NBA playing small forward or trying to hit a CC Sabathia 90-mile-an-hour curveball. She's in a race car, so that makes her equal. She's a race car driver. The question is, as an open-wheel driver, can she come in and compete in these stock cars? And at this racetrack, we're going to find out what she's got, because this is as tough as it gets.
Vince, you down there in the middle of the scrum?
Yeah, we're dancing it here. Okay, your first time at Bristol, initial impressions, and what's your biggest challenge today?
Well, it's, it all happens so quick. You've got to stay in a good rhythm. I find that when you lose your rhythm, you lose it for a lap or so, but that's not necessarily a good thing. So I think it's going to be really important to be able to run the first and second lane with real confidence all day long, because you need to be able to go where people aren't if you want to be able to get a run. And it seems like if you have to pinch the corner on the bottom when you're side by side, I don't know if that's the quickest way around. But it's going to be hard. I'm nervous, but I'm not sure what to be nervous for, because I haven't been here before to know. So I've got a lot of people giving me advice, and hopefully with some luck and some throw hopefully a little talent in there, and the GoDaddy car will come home to the finish line.
She's about to find out what it's all about, Alan. Danica starts 29th.
I'm going to get the experience of riding that parade lap around in front of these massive grandstands as well. We've only had 3 races in this season in the Nationwide Series, so it's kind of easy to forget how many new things drivers, not just Danica, but all the drivers, are still adjusting to. For example, they're all getting used to the next generation race car being used for the first time on a lot of these tracks. And a lot of guys are adapting to new crew chiefs. You see a list there. Brad Keselowski on that list, as well as on the list of former Bristol winners. He starts 12th today, Dave Burns.
And with his new crew chief, Todd Gordon, they've gone through some trials this year, I would say, already. But has the performance been there? Was Vegas a bounce back in performance, or has it always been there?
Well, I think we had really good cars at Daytona and Vegas,
and thought we had a shot at winning both, and it just didn't work out. Now, Phoenix, we struggled a little bit, and here we unloaded and we're a little off, and I think we caught up. We're not quite as strong as we'd like to be, but we're going to keep working hard. We got a lot of changes over the offseason to Penske Racing, and obviously a lot of the Nationwide team from last year that won the championship moved over to the Cup side for the Miller Lite Dodge, so hopefully that'll pay off. It's just going to take some time to get everything back gelling, but I'm really confident in my group and ready to get some good racing in here at Bristol.
Brad has a win here and a handful of top fives. Kevin Harvick is halfway to a perfect 10.
Remember the name, Kevin Harvick. You'll hear it for a lot of years to come. Final time by for impressive rookie driver Kevin Harvick. Take the victory at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Harvick trying to win this race for a second year in a row. After a cut tire, he's made a bump up and come back to score the victory. Kevin Harvick has done it at Bristol.
Pretty much clean racetrack for Kevin Harvick.
Checkered flag for Kevin Harvick.
That, folks, is domination.
For the win, Kevin Harvick does the Bristol double. There's your favorite car right there. He's in the driver's seat right now. He's got the fastest car on the racetrack.
Kevin Harvick does it.
His fifth win at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Happy's happy.
Well, you might think if a driver has won 5 times at a racetrack, he'd be very confident about what's going to happen today. Not the case for Kevin Harvick. Kevin, a lot of concerns about what might happen here after lap 25 for you.
Well, Ream Chevrolet has been really good all weekend. And I think there's more unknowns at this particular race than I've been at in a long time. And after Cup practice, I think there's even more unknowns with what's going to happen to the tires. So it's going to take us a run or so to figure out what direction we need to adjust our car and go from there. So we'll see what happens. It's just going to be kind of a crapshoot today, and may the best guesser win.
Oh, make the best guesser win. Kevin Harvick will roll off 8th, Alan.
I like that, Doc. All right, thanks. First race at Bristol for the next generation race car. And again, changing the right side tire on a competition caution at lap 25. Start with the car itself. How different is it going to be running the new car here versus the previous car?
I think once they get them handling well, it's not going to be a whole lot different, but it is different. The setup is completely different, Alan, than it was last year. And because of that, Goodyear and NASCAR threw an extra little practice session for these guys on Friday, gave them more time at the racetrack to try to get these cars handling better. So I think they do have a pretty good handle. And personally, Brad, I do not think this tire change is going to be a big deal.
Oh, I agree with you. I talked to multiple crew chiefs this morning, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be a little different, but we all have to handle it. So it should put us all on equal footing. Yeah, there's going to be someone who figures it out a little bit quicker than everyone else, and maybe it gets them to the front. But overall, I think it'll be fine.
All right, we'll see how it plays out in the first next-generation car race at Bristol Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. More of the Kings of Bristol, Kyle, Carl, and Junior, when the countdown continues from Thunder Valley.
Me and Rusty got 9 wins here, you know that.
That's right. Drivers' introductions, seen on the grid, the beautiful weather, all live from the world's fastest half mile as ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets you ready for today's 300-lapper on this high bank little bull ring where they'll be framming and bamming and bouncing off each other and finger pointing.
Yes, sir. Let's get it on.
By the end of the afternoon here. What was that you said a minute ago going to break? You and Rusty have 9 wins together here?
Yeah, between us, me and Rusty got 9 wins.
I just wanted to check and
all the rest
make
of
sure.
These chumps get out of the way.
Drivers are being paraded around the racetrack after they are introduced to the fans, and they get an up-close look. One of the advantages of a short track racing, you get to see your men up close as they come around. There's Kyle Busch on board with Trevor Bayne as we get set to go racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Bristol is the only remaining track on the circuit with 2 separate pit roads. There's one on the inside of the front stretch and one on the inside of the back straightaway. And what that results in, to even up the pit selections and not have the guys pitted on the backstretch be at a severe disadvantage. Several years ago, NASCAR went to a different pit road procedure here at Bristol. So there are actually 2 separate procedures for pitting under green versus under caution. There are the corners on the racetrack. Under green, you just use whatever pit road you're actually pitted on, entrance and exit.
Absolutely, under green. Just like you said, come on down the pit road on your prospective side. If you're pitting on a front straightaway, come in on turn 4. exit out of turn 1, and the same in the back straightaway, Brad. Come in on a 2, exit out of 3.
But under caution, it's a little different.
Under caution, you come in off of 2, you have to go the entire way around and come back up onto the racetrack in turn 1. Can make for a long, slow ride under caution.
And when you are under caution, that space that's not on either pit road between turns 3 and 4,
gotcha.
You still have to run the pit road speed limit through there.
Yeah, you got that right. That's very tempting, though, as a driver. I mean, you're not on the pit roads. You're in the corners, and you're thinking, hey, man, if I'm going to cheat, I can cheat right here. But guess what? You can't. They'll bust
every
you right
time.
there.
Yep.
Now, how many times you go into a parking lot at the mall, the grocery store or something, and you look at somebody and they're not parked very well between the lines, and you say, oh. Well, these guys are the best drivers in the world, and here at Bristol, even they have trouble parking between the lines sometimes on pit road. Carl Edwards, an example, this race a year ago, in contention for the win, came down the pit lane, couldn't quite get it centered between the lines, and it caused his crew some trouble.
Locked up those front tires, as you can see. Didn't get it quite centered. His gas man's too tight against the wall over there. I mean, it's just so narrow around here. But locking up those tires because you're coming in so hot is something that these guys do a lot. You got to really manage the brakes and be on pass.
Didn't have enough room to get the jack around the left side of the car.
It takes the official for a ride with it.
Made the audible call there to send him back onto the racetrack with just the right side tires only. A couple of other items with the new variable banking at this racetrack since 2007. More banking on the higher lane than in the lower lane. Sometimes, and Danica alluded to this a little while ago, the guy or girl on the bottom lane coming off the corner has a little trouble sticking there.
Well, it's less banking down there. It's about 4 degrees less banking on the bottom of the racetrack, and because of that, you don't have as much grip as you do on the top of the track. But that is one cool change that did make it Bristol. You can run on the bottom and on the top, and it makes for the racing pretty doggone good for the competitors.
Yeah, but when you come off of turn 2 there, if you're in that top lane, it's almost like the wall comes at you very, very quickly. And you'll see a lot of guys react and try to get that car down just a little bit. So a good opportunity to get together and rub some fenders coming off of turn 2.
Oh, just not enough right there. That's Brad Keselowski, the 22, trying to get the lead from Justin Allgaier in the 12 late in this race here 1 year ago. Brakes. New car, higher center of gravity. Will brakes be a bigger problem for the drivers and teams in this race than perhaps they're used to at Bristol?
I don't think brakes will be a problem. I don't think they're going to have any problems with that, although I will tell you that they will use more brake. They will be on the brakes more, but I still think they got good enough brakes and they've got good enough cooling that we won't see an issue there.
Could be an issue. We'll have to wait and see, especially when they change to this new right side tire, which is actually the old tire. But there could be some brakes heating up when guys getting after it, getting under one another. But I don't think it's going to be too big of an ordeal.
I like what Harvick said before. Best guesser wins today. That's pretty good stuff. Tell you, if you want to guess at who is going to win today, a good guy to pick would be Kyle Busch, because he has been the man recently here at Bristol. Well, last August, they ran 3 NASCAR National Touring Series races over a period of 5 days here. And Kyle Busch won all 3 of them. In the Camping World Truck Series race on a Wednesday night, he led 116 laps and took that trophy home. Friday night, came out on top of the bump, bang, and scuffle shuffle with Brad Keselowski to take the Nationwide Series race in that one. Excuse me, coming back through. Pardon me. And then on Saturday night, capped it off by leading 282 of 500 laps in the Sprint Cup race and driving up onto the victory lane building again. That the Nationwide win. Yeah, it stirred the fans all up. And then Kyle winning on Saturday night in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. So Kyle goes for a 4th straight win at Bristol today from 5th on the grid. Jamie, how's he feeling?
Well, Kyle Busch got very familiar with Victory Lane here last fall, going there 3 times in one weekend. But Kyle, this time around, different car, and you guys are swapping up tires that you haven't practiced on. What do you expect once the race gets going?
I don't even know. It's going to be a little bit different today for sure, something that we've never been accustomed to, but it's the same for everybody. So we'll see how the Z-Line Designs Camry reacts to the tire change and what happens after that. Expect it to be a little bit slower, a little bit tighter, so we'll see how all that plays out. But overall, our thoughts and prayers are with all the people in Japan and Toyota's efforts with the American Red Cross, redcross.org, and everybody, hoping that we can get a lot of donations to help the cause over there.
And Kyle Busch and the rest of Toyota drivers will be running a sticker to support the Red Cross today. Alan?
right, Jamie, thanks. There, a look at the sticker that's back on what's called the C-post on these race cars. All the Toyotas carrying that in today's race. That is the lead item in our J-Ski News and Notes as we check a couple of the other items that are going on around the Nationwide Series. The Toyota team's effort to support relief efforts in Japan. Also, Turner Motorsports, aforementioned, adding driver Mikey Kyle to its lineup. He's going to run a minimum of 7 races beginning at Nashville in a couple of weeks. And a crew chief change at TriStar Motorsports. Dave Fuge has left the team. Wes Ward is now heading things up for Mike Bliss and the 19th car. Time for you to head out of here and up over to there to go call the race.
Wow, I'm going to try hard because it's a long way over there.
All right. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Let's hear from another one of the favorites today. Carl Edwards is with Dave Burns.
And Alan, remember how we showed Justin Allgaier his win from last year, and then he saw that and he was all smart. Well, Carl saw that pit stop where he slid through. How do you avoid that today and the other perils of a brand new race car at this track?
It's funny, I must have put that somewhere far away in my mind.
Sorry we brought it back.
I don't even remember that happening until you showed it, but this EZC 300 is going to be a real battle for the crew chiefs, for the drivers. Changing tires in the middle of the race is going to be tough. But our Mustang is fast, and it's going to require good pit stops, good track position, but the biggest thing is going to be adapting to that new tire.
I have to ask you, after Phoenix, you said it was too early in the season to use the bump and run on anybody that you might owe a little bump to. All right, here we are. It's 4 races in. Is it time? If you had to use it today to win, would you?
ESPN always stirring everything up. We'll just see how the race goes. If we've got a fast enough easy seed Mustang to win the thing, it'd be hard to sit behind somebody here at Bristol. That's just the nature of this place.
A Bristol win is big, Alan. Anytime.
Well, we'll see if Concrete Carl can conquer the crowd of carnivorous contenders who curtail him in Thunder Valley.
Easy for you to say.
And if I even know what that means when we come back.
NASCAR Countdown is brought to you by the U.S. Army. There's strong, then there's Army Strong. See strength like no other at GoArmy.com.
Getting ready to go racing for the NASCAR Nationwide Series here in Thunder Valley today. Driver's going to go for a spin around the world's fastest half mile.
There we go. Look at Danica. She got some talent. She could be a shooting guard.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Could you? Really?
Oh, maybe.
All right. As these drivers get ready to go, again, the story of the day, the unknowns. 25 laps in, competition caution to come out, and a new right side tire. The tire raced here last August will be put on the cars, and the left side, the right side tire that was brought here for the weekend will be taken out of use. A lot of head scratching going on.
Yeah, there is. 4 nationwide regulars starting up front. What will these guys have to do to not get overwhelmed early and stay up there?
We'll find out if one of the championship eligible drivers can be best at Bristol today. The opening ceremony is coming up next. The spectacular setting that is Bristol, the high-banked, high-speed half-mile surrounded by mountains of grandstands, where today ESPN brings you race 4 of the 2011 NASCAR Nationwide Series. To recap a couple of the top stories, let's go right to pit road and Dave Burns.
Well, Alan, what a day it was 2 weeks ago for Danica Patrick at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Not only did she drive her car to a historic 4th place finish, but she drove it well. Maybe at speeds on 1.5 miles that she never had before, and her team used strategy to get her to that great finish. This weekend at Bristol, it's been more about limits. She thinks maybe limiting her expectations to a top 20 or so might be good. She has found the limits on her race car, spinning it in final practice yesterday, not hitting anything. And she also has to find out how much she'll push her temper to the limit today as she races with 43 cars here for the first time on Bristol's high banks. Dr. Punch?
Well, Dave, on his way to a 2010 NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship, Kyle Busch broke or tied over 20 major NASCAR records, but arguably none more impressive than what he accomplished here at Bristol last August. Over 3 successive nights, Busch led a combined 514 laps, becoming the first and only driver to ever win all 3 major touring events at a track on a single weekend. And with a combined 9 total victories here at Thunder Valley, no doubt Kyle is king of the concrete. Alan Bestwick.
Doc, thanks. It's the first race at Bristol for the next generation Nationwide Series race car. How many of those pretty new machines are going to be all wrinkled up after 300 laps today? Let's go trackside.
Race fans, please rise for the presentation of colors for the Cherokee High School Navy Junior ROTC out of Rogersville, Tennessee, and the invocation by Scott Caldwell, Area Director of Young Life of Upper East Tennessee. Scott?
Let's pray. O Lord God,
the heavens and the earth declare your glory. With blue skies and the sun on our faces and the mountains that surround us, we find it to be true. We pray for a great race day. We pray for safety for all participants, for drivers, officials, team members. And Lord, this day, we ask that you would bless the men and women in uniform whose sacrifice make it possible for us to come today and have a great day. Lord, bless this race. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hats off, hands over your heart for the national anthem by Show Dog Universal recording artist Carter's Core. Ladies.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red-glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Very nicely done. And so we're getting ready to go at Bristol. Kasey Kahne driving the 38 car today. Can he get to the front from 9th on the grid? Had a lot of lead changes these last few races at Bristol. Kasey hoping to be the one to lead the last lap today here in Thunder Valley.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, the no-wait, no-hassle way to a great morning.
The high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway, where any win is a special one, but your first win at Bristol, huge. It happened here 1 year ago for Justin Allgaier, driving the number 12 Penske Dodge. Then a big day for the Illinois native today. Justin starts third in the number 31 Chevrolet. Can he join the club, as Rusty says, with a second win? Speaking of Rusty, he has raced upstairs to join champion crew chief Andy Petrie and Marty Reed for the call of today's race. If it was a race, I knew Rusty'd get there on time.
He won again. He won again. Give him number 10. Hey, 9 different winners in the last 9 races here, Alan, and welcome everybody. We're glad you're with us again. And we talked about beginning of countdown, the fact that we've had 5 first-time winners here, and there's really one statistic that sort of jumps out when you take a look at those 5 winners. Look at the far right-hand side. None of them worse than their 4th Bristol start. Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be having his 3rd start. My question to both of you guys is he the guy to beat today?
He can be one of the guys. There's a lot of really good, talented young drivers out there. There's no doubt about that. But this guy here has been really good this year. I saw a snapshot of greatness like I was talking about earlier out of him at the second half of last year. Right now, he's laying the numbers on the board. He's looking really good. He can win this thing.
Yeah, he has so much more confidence this year than he had last year. And how much confidence does it give you to be on the pole for this race? So, yeah, I think he can be a winner today. And with that kind of confidence, it could carry him right to the victory lane.
Well, remember, he's got the longest top 10 streak going in the series right now, dating back to last year. 5 straight races. We'll keep an eye on him. Of course, the tire issue from yesterday is going to be the big curveball. Nobody really knows what they're going to have at lap 25, so what's going to happen?
Well, that's a good question, Marty. We don't really know, but we do know that this is a tire that has been run here. The tire that you see right there was run yesterday. That was a tweak that Goodyear did to try to make the racing a little better, a little more grip. The crew chiefs had a meeting with NASCAR and Goodyear, and they decided to bring in a new tire today. And it is going to throw a curveball to these crews and crew chiefs. And whoever reacts to that the best is probably going to be the winner of this race. We don't want to see this dust build up on the track. We want to see that rubber going into the racetrack.
Andy, I don't think that the tire change is a big change for them, and I think they do have a notebook on this tire from last year. It worked really good for them. So as a driver going into this race, I've got a lot of confidence. I'm really not nervous about this tire change. Although, if I do run bad, I'm going to blame it on the tire. I got an excuse.
All right, I guess the follow-up is all the drivers I was talking to, they were saying, I don't know. I guess Kevin Harvick said it best. Who's the best guesser, right?
It's going to be a guess. It really is. But again, I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
All right, so the window nets are up, the helmets are on, and the 43 drivers are in their cars. And it's time for us to send it down trackside to get the fourth race of the 2011 season underway.
To give the command from those famous words in NASCAR, the president of the Scotts Company, Mr. Barry Sanders. Barry?
Drivers, start your engine.
Just race hard on our own deal and see what we come up with here at the end. 10-4, Scott. Motor's running. All right. Tell me what you need as you get rolling.
Engines have fired, and our in-race reporter is last year's winner, Justin Allgaier. He's going to start third today. We'll talk to him when we come back to the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway. Cars just beginning to pull off of pit road. Across the top of the screen, the starting field. We can tell you the 79 of Jennifer Jo Cobb. She's out of the car, and the car's been pushed behind the wall. We'll try and get an update on exactly what happened there. Let's talk to our in-race reporter, find out how he's going to handle today's race. It's Justin Allgaier. It's all yours, Rusty.
Justin, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Yeah, Rusty, go ahead.
Hey, buddy, we got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Jake in Brookville, Ohio. The question is, after your breakthrough win last year with Penske Racing here at Bristol, how do you see your chances today with Turner Motorsports to repeat?
Well, Jake, the car this weekend, the Branch Chevrolet, has been really, really good from the time we unloaded off the truck all the way through practice. Thought we had a shot for the pole and didn't quite pull it off. And, you know, we got another Turner Motorsports car up here with Jason Leftwich, so hopefully we can keep good track position all day and stay up here in the front and get another victory. So I think we got a good shot at it, but I want to give a big shout out to the folks from Brent. Glenn Brent, the founder, is turning 85 today. We got him here in the stands, and Rick Brent, the CEO now, his wife just had a birthday this week, so big shout out to them. And also a good family friend of ours, the Schlucker Bears back in Illinois. They had a tragedy in their family, so we want to tell them that thoughts and prayers are with them for sure.
Sounds good, Justin. Justin, this is the race you won last year, and I hear that this is your favorite racetrack. Are you nervous that this year it's the new car with a different tire change 25 laps into the race from what you practice on?
Well, you know, I don't know that, you know, Bristol is kind of Bristol. And Rusty, I know you've had a lot of success here. And it seems like once you figure out how to drive this place, it doesn't really matter what you get in. It's always a lot of fun. So Bristol's definitely my favorite racetrack. As far as today with the new car, new tire, I think we got our work cut out for us. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, being up here in the front is definitely a good starting spot. And missing some of the wrecks here will be pivotal. And I think that we've still got a great shot at getting into the victory lane.
All right, Justin, thanks for talking to us. Now, Andy's going to speak to your crew chief, Jimmy Elledge.
How about it, Jimmy? Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, Jimmy, everybody's talking about how this is so unpredictable, what's going to happen with this tire. But you get paid to know which way this thing's going to go. So tell me, which way is these cars going to go when we put this tire on?
Well, I hope they don't go into the ground too hard. You know, the spring rate of the right front tire, the right side tires is, you know, about 100 pounds different from what we have on the car right now. The rollout is a small bit different. So I'm really concerned with the ground contact, but I do think the balance of the car will be tighter, you know, with the new right side tires for sure.
Okay, Jimmy, I hope your predictions are right, man. Good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you already know we have an onboard camera with Justin Allgaier. Let's show you the rest of them. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Danica Patrick, Trevor Bayne, Kyle Busch, Jason Leffler, Kevin Harvick, and Stephen Wallace. Our over-the-wall reporter is the front tire changer on the number 14 of Eric McClure. And That is Joel Martino. Joel, thank you for doing that for us, and you be safe down there today. Let's take a look at our Goodyear track facts, because obviously that banking has changed the cautions. We've actually had fewer cautions since we went to the new track.
Well, you got two different banking angles right here, 26 degrees on the bottom, 30 on the top, and Andy just got a lot more room out there because of that. These guys don't have to drive so rough. I know the fans don't want to hear that, but it makes for less caution.
Yeah, sometimes that outside lane can be the fastest lane.
Averaging 4 fewer cautions with the new surface. All right, let's get the last-minute update from pit road. Jamie Little, you're up.
Well, the two guys starting on the front row have gotten off to a great start this season, and they continue that today. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hopes to have a good run today. His best ever finish here, 22nd. Now next to him, Jason Leffler. He's trying to end a winless streak of 121 races. Good news for him. He has more experience than the guys next to him. Watch for him to take the lead early. Vince Welch.
Row 2, high expectations. Justin Allgaier won this race a year ago. He's with a new team. They want to win again. Next to him is Trevor Bayne. All he did was win the Daytona 500, but in the Nationwide Series, the results have been inconsistent. Which one delivers today, Marty?
Remember, we have that competition caution coming up at lap number 25. Pace car gets ready to pull down. Here it comes, and leading the way is Ricky Stenhouse. He has taken the high side alongside of Jason Leffler. They come to the start, green flag flies, and we're racing at Bristol. And the question is, did Ricky maybe start a little too soon?
It wasn't a very clean start, but Ricky Stenhouse did get a big jump.
Yeah, that was a great stuff out of Ricky Stenhouse. He was on money when it come to restart time, and he just drove away from these guys. He's looking really good now the first couple laps of this race.
Now, normally we would have our scoring across the top of the screen. We'll tell you that we are having a bit of a difficulty with that. We'll keep you posted as quickly as we can to get it fixed. We can tell you that right now you've got Ricky Stenhouse really pulling out to a big lead over the 16 of Trevor Bayne.
You can see how these guys are working that top line. You see Trevor Bayne on the outside of this track right now, and that's with these engines with not much horsepower, Andy. It seems like there's a lot of momentum now at this new design track.
Yeah, look at Kyle Busch. He's really using that outside lane. He's pulled right up to the back bumper of Trevor. I think if he can get clear, he might try the bottom right here.
See Kyle Busch working underneath Trevor Bayne right now. These guys aren't getting real nervous at the moment because they know that this caution is going to happen at lap 25, and that's when they got to go to work and get the cars handling good.
Well, Rusty, wouldn't you want to try to get as much track position right now while you have this tire on, so you'd be kind of be in a good position when you do make that change?
Well, I would say get all you possibly can. That's a good point, Andy. I mean, just get all the track position you can, and early in the going, if you get away from these guys, you might keep yourself out of an early wreck also.
There you see the race leader, Ricky Stenhouse, Trevor Bayne in second. And he is under attack from the 18 of Kyle Busch. And then right behind is the 30, and that is Jason Leffler.
You know, there's always been a lot of conversation whether you like the old track or the new track. The old track had one banking angle. In order to pass the car, you had to kind of bump them and knock them out of the way. But this new track, you can race on the bottom and on the top. And I see cars lap after lap running side by side like we're seeing right now.
Two former champions going after each other. Last year's winner, the 22 of Brad Keselowski, and the 60 of Carl Edwards. And you're on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You see him getting really tight right there. Really hard for Brad Keselowski running that bottom lane. It can get frustrating down there when you have a line of cars up there and you don't get clear. You could be stuck down there.
Well, a lot of times as a driver, you feel like you're trapped down there and you start getting upset. You're screaming at your spotter, hey, man, get me to the top lane. I got to get this baby wound back up. I'm trapped down here. Now he's got up in the top lane. He's probably feeling better about it.
Tell you that the 27 has taken the car behind the wall. That's J.J. Yaley. Now, that other story we want to put a period on, Jennifer Jo Cobb never came out on for the start. Dr. Jerry Punch has caught up with her.
Marty, she qualified the car, and Jennifer Jo, you did not start the car. What happened?
It's Jerry Maguire in NASCAR. I tell you, I was told 10 minutes before the race started that I would be forced to start and park by the owner mandating a black flag so the car could be ready for California. Then I was told that it was breaking the contract with me and that I would not be racing in California. And I feel like God has given me the opportunity to race in NASCAR, and I owe it to the fans, sponsors, and I'm not a stock track driver. I'm here to
Lewandowski getting suited up. We'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Ricky Stenhouse continuing to march his way through this field, and you can see he's already putting cars laps down.
Well, I'll tell you, if this is any indication how today's going to turn out, Stenhouse has got it handling perfect. And you know, there's drivers that have the best days of their life, and the car handles perfect. They don't make any changes. And right now, unless this tire change has a big change, this guy's in the driver's seat.
Well, I see another little bump, potential bump in the road for Ricky Stenhouse, and he looks in his mirror. He's going to see that 18 car closing in ever so slightly.
You see that guy closing in.
Yeah, here he comes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and Ricky's getting slowed by the traffic in front of him. The 44 of Jeff Green and the 81 of Blake Cook. Ricky finally clears, but here comes Kyle.
I don't know if there's any indication of what we're going to see the rest of the day, but this top lane of this racetrack looks like the lane that most of these guys like to run at the moment.
See how Kyle has narrowed the gap. He now clears Jeff Green. And we're up to lap 20. Remember, lap 25, we will have the mandatory caution.
Well, it happens fast. I mean, we've already run, like you said, 20 laps. It doesn't take long to get around here.
On board with Kyle.
Now, Harvick's been working on Justin Allgaier for quite a few laps now.
Here, Kevin Harvick told us in the countdown show that he doesn't know what's going to happen when they change his tires. It's just going to be a big guess. He hopes he guesses right, but we'll have to see. I'm predicting it's not going to be a big change, but man, you know what? I've been wrong a lot.
Well, that's Harvick looking back from Justin Allgaier's car. Harvick, the all-time winner here in the Nationwide Series with 5 wins. In fact, he is second on the all-time short tracks. An average finish, 6.69 in 52 starts. Question for the quiz of the day, who's number 1?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
You know, because I told you earlier.
Oh, okay, so I can't say it.
Sam Ard, and listen to this, 5.1 in 64 starts.
That's incredible. He was a short track king.
Wow, he got that right. I'll never forget that that white car he drove.
Yep.
Big old tires hanging out the fender wells. I think we're just rock and roll around these places.
Elliott Sadler in the 2, the 38 of Casey Kane. And remember, last year in this race, Casey looked like he was on his way to victory until he got swept up in that crash that was none of his doing.
You know, Andy, the air dam in front of these cars, they call it the splitter on the very front. They run right on the ground in the corners. And some of the crew chiefs are concerned when they change the tire that the tire might travel, let the front end travel more, and that splitter actually hit the ground.
Yellow's out. Yellow, yellow. Competition yellow. Straight up.
Well, we're getting ready to find out what that's going to do here when they change these tires.
You heard the call.
I think that's their biggest concern, if they can keep that splitter up off the ground. I know people are talking about more air pressure. Some are talking about less air pressure, so it's a whole pile of changes.
So the pace car comes out, picks up our race leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He has led every lap.
Now, NASCAR is going to require everybody to change at least right side tires on this pit stop. They don't have to change the lefts. We will see some 4-tire changes, but NASCAR is going to require everybody changing right sides.
Also gives us a chance. We will share with you, we still do not have full scoring. We have the cars as they are running, but we can't give you the margins or who exactly is a lap down right now. There's a glitch in the NASCAR scoring that they are working on.
Now, Marty, Goodyear and all the teams are telling me that this tire that we're getting ready to take off the car is probably about 2 or 3/10 of a second faster than the tire it's going on. And so we did ask the question this morning, can you take this other tire and put it back on at the end of the race? Says, no, none of that. This tire is out of the racetrack. After this first pit stop, it's illegal to put it back on.
Well, we're about to find out just what these new tires, which is actually last year's tire on the right side, is going to do for these cars. They'll go around at least one more time before they open pit road.
Now, this is one of those tracks where track position is really important, but also that grip is important. These tires are, you know, to get those extra 2 tires sometimes can make a difference. So it's really a tough decision for crew chiefs to make this 2-tire, 4-tire call.
You saw a shot right there on Danica Patrick. She is running right now in 26th position. Okay, so you come in off of turn number 2, and you got to go all the way around. Let's send it to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Marty, Jason Ratcliffe will have all 4 tires changed for Kyle Busch because the stagger is more than they thought they were going to be having on this new right side tires. We're now a guessing game starting here with Kyle Busch. Let's go down today.
Doc, Trevor Bayne gives up 4th position. That's where he started. His car was good in and out of the corner. In the middle, it wouldn't turn, so they'll make an air pressure adjustment for young Trevor Bayne. Now let's go around pit road to Jamie Little.
And Justin Allgaier says he's plowing in the center, but it's not as bad as in practice. 4 tires is the call down on the track bar to help that plowing condition. In the middle of your screen, Brad Keselowski. He was happy with these old tires. They weren't having the wear issues that everybody else was yesterday. Remember, they're putting those tires from last time on Brad Keselowski's car. Pretty good. Vince.
Bottom of the screen is your race leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says the car's a little free through 3 and 4. They made an air pressure adjustment in the left front. 4 tire change for Ricky Stenhouse.
So there come the cars off of pit road, and again we apologize, we can't show you the race off because it's all hinged on our scoring, which currently is not functioning properly. So we'll reset it for you after 28 of 300 laps when we come back here. Coming back to the green flag, 2-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was the leader, and he's got his hands full with Kyle Busch. I tell you that Mike Bliss and Trevor Bayne both had tire violations outside the box. They had to start at the back of the line. Also, 3 cars that we know of are out. Byers, Yaley, and Green behind the wall.
Okay, there's 2.
Let's go back to just show you what happened to Stephen Wallace just a moment ago, trying to get around Danica.
Starting to run out of room right there in this restart. Getting a little frustrated, it looked like. Pushed the issue a bit. You know, talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr., guys. I think this was a good time for him just to put the right sides on and gain all that track position and see if it's going to work. They only had 25 laps, and Andy late in the race. This might pay off, this strategy, knowing what this car does if they need to do 2 tires again later.
Yeah, but we got to see what's going to happen right here. It looks like so far he's able to hang with Kyle Busch, and that's saying a lot.
Eric Almirola in the 88 running in 3rd. Talked to him before qualifying. He said, we were embarrassed after the last race at Las Vegas. Everybody focused, and they've been running very good all weekend, and here they are running 3rd, under attack, though, from Ricky Stenhouse.
You see Stenhouse working that top side of that track. That's what I like about the new design, is that you can get that big-time momentum. You get that big run on top of the track, and you know, sometimes that works that good for you when you got to defend a guy off.
Yeah, I watched Kyle Busch the first 2 laps of that restart. He was like 3 lanes up. He was way up on the racetrack. Still is. He's still running that pretty high lane.
You just got to wonder, they had Cup practice this morning, if Kyle was actually up there in the top of the track trying that lane out, seeing how it was working, because just like you said, Andy, right off the bat, he went right to the top, and it's been working for him.
55 of Brett Rowe also behind the wall now as you continue to watch this battle between the 22 and the 6. Keselowski underneath Ricky Stenhouse. Left side of your screen. That's Joey Logano in the 20 and the 32. Our points leader, Reed Sorensen, with Elliott Sadler, the 3rd car in the mix.
Yeah, you see this battle on the right side of your screen. These 2 cars running side by side are actually catching the leaders.
And you wouldn't, that's kind of abnormal to have 2 guys running side by side, be able to outrun the guy leading the race, but they're running not really so close together that it doesn't mess up their aerodynamics and all that stuff, so they can still stay trucking forward and keep the speed up.
Ricky Stenhouse running in 3rd. Let's get an update from Vince Welch.
Everyone was concerned about how the car would react once the tires were changed over to this different set. Ricky Stenhouse says no grip on the right side whatsoever. Going to work on the brake a little bit and see if that'll help him.
All right, Vince, on the left side of your screen, you can see that Brian Scott has his hands full with Kevin Harvick in the 33, and that is 11th and 12th on the racetrack.
Yeah, Brian Scott driving that Joe Gibbs racing car. It's a good break for Brian this year. Gibbs decided to start another team, put Brian in this car, and this is something a young driver has got to be loving, to go with a team that's that good and has had so much success in a nationwide series to get his year going.
Stenhouse still with last year's champion all over his back bumper. Keselowski trying to get around him.
You know, one good thing about this, Andy, I would think, is that they've run 25 laps in the other tire. Now they got the new tire, and they really need now another pit stop to tune up this current tire to the car. So I'm sure a lot of the drivers are thinking that, unless their car is perfect.
Yeah, we heard Stenhouse say that he didn't have any grip on the right side. I'm sure the feel of the car is a lot different. So I want to hear that, but also, well, look at this battle. Man, Logano and Allgaier going at it.
Yeah, Joey got loose and almost got into the 31 of Justin Allgaier.
Well, like I said, I want to hear this feedback we're hearing from Stenhouse, but his car is really good. He just took 2nd place. He's catching Kyle Busch. I want to get him back in the saddle. Say, hey, man, I know it feels different, but this car's running.
You know, that's a great point, because there's been so many times when I've been driving, I'm going, man, this car feels terrible. And a crew chief like you would come across the race and say, hey, man, you're out running. Everybody calm down. I know it's bad for you. It must really be bad for those guys.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on the march. He is closing in on race leader Kyle Busch. We'll find out if he catches him. We'll step aside just for a few moments here at the world's fastest half mile. After 57 to 300 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway, you're riding on board with race leader Kyle Busch. But the man right behind him is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and he has been putting a lot of pressure on the man who swept all 3 races last fall here at Bristol.
Well, Ricky's caught Kyle 4 or 5 times right now. He gets hung up in traffic, can't seem to make the pass. I got to believe they got a little clear track. He's going to get around Kyle. And I don't know if it's going to be the bottom of the track or the top, but he's been faster than me, Andy, on the top.
His car looks really good through the middle of the corner. See how he runs his high lane right here, but he's able to turn the car down, too, when he needs to, which tells me he's got a really good working race car.
They're both coming up on the color match 01 of Mike Wallace as they put him a lap down. Doc, give us an update on the 18.
Well, Marty, if you're wondering what Ford tires will do, including the new right side tire, listen in to what happened to Kyle Busch.
Really bad pipe, but so it's especially center, but it's entry to center.
Now, Kyle had said before the race he thought the flexible sidewall on the new right side tire might make it looser. But Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief, said, yeah, with the added stagger, the huge stagger change, it's only going to make this very tight. I think Jason Ratcliffe was right. Right now, Kyle, very tight in the middle of the corner.
And Doc, to follow up, talking to Jason earlier this morning, he was saying, I want a long run on this first change. I want to see what I've got, and it looks like he's getting it right now.
Yeah, he knows now what he needs to do to his car. And we heard Jimmy Elledge talk just before the race started that he felt like that this tire was going to be tighter, and it's proven out that he's right, because we're hearing that from Kyle Busch. But Stenhouse, man, his car still looks really good to me through the middle of the corner.
You know, a car putting tires on and turning the car to make it tighter is really not a bad thing, especially if you're the guy that's got a really loose car with the original set of tires. This tire change could actually just fix your car, maybe something you couldn't have fixed yourself before.
These two holding station right now. As let's go back further in the field, and you can see that the 20 of Joey Logano. Here comes the 33 of Kevin Harvick. That is 11th and 12th on the racetrack. The 05 of Willie Allen, who has his career best finish here 1 year ago at this race, coming home 11th. He is man in the 05 getting past and put a lap down. Let's get an update on that 33, Dave. Oh, trouble. You got turn number 3 as our second caution comes out. And you can see there's damage on the 16 and also the 23 of Robert Richardson. It looks like Richardson got the worst of it.
Trevor Bain's got
it
some
was coming
damage
straight
too.
out the back. It wasn't coming out the exhaust, Walter. It was straight out the back.
It looked like he was losing some fluid big time, and you see right here, Trevor Bain did get a lot of damage.
Yeah, they've run about 40 laps since that tire change, guys, so this is a good time to come down and just on these cars if they're not handling with this tire
Get in
change.
here right now. We'll get in here, get right side tires on, get everything clearance, guys. Have that patch ready for the race.
I see a lot of water on the track. I don't know if he lost a water hose or something. This car of Richardson. See it right there.
Yeah.
Let's go back and take another look.
See right there, the fluid coming out of the car going into turn 3. And there's Trevor Bain right in that fluid, goes up and slams the wall right behind him.
It almost looks like a water hose broke off that car, Andy,
That's what it
or
looks
something like that.
You see Trevor Bain, he's working on the outside of Danica Patrick. He's got nowhere to go. He's just got to run right through that fluid, and you can see, man, that's a tough break.
He actually got the front right, too. Take a look from on board.
Yeah, look at the fluid.
Back it down. Once upon right in the middle of the track, easy.
No chance.
I hurt the car pretty bad there. The oil's everywhere.
Remember the feature piece we had at the beginning when he was singing he was at the car wash? That's what it looked like right there. A bad break for Trevor Bain. Dave, you got more on the 16?
Just alignment, Marty, obviously on the right-hand side of that car. They decided to just quickly put 2 right side tires on, then they'll come back and assess further alignment issues on that 16.
Yeah, they're going to have a few problems there because that was a pretty hard lick, and they've been, I'm sure, all the steering parts, probably the trailing arm rear suspension parts.
Yeah, if you hit the right rear corner of the car, and all of a sudden as a driver inside the car, it's changed the steering wheel, you know it's bent the rear end housing.
Yeah, just watch him go down pit road, right front wheel was pointed towards the wall, so it's got some issues.
Okay, so Robert is going into the mandatory infield care center visit, and the entrance to pit road is blocked, so we're going to quickly step aside for break, and then we'll be back for pit stops. Stay with us. Our race lead right now is held by the 18 of Kyle Busch after 69 of 300 laps. Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway, we are under our second caution after contact into the wall by Robert Richardson after he blew a water line. It swept up the 16 of Trevor Bayne as well. He is back out, but with a lot of damage. Richardson's car has been taken behind the wall, along with Jeff Green, J.J. Yaley, Brett Rowe, Brad Teague, Kelly Byers, and of course Lewandowski is still not out in that 79. There is Reed Sorensen as he has come in for a 4-tire change.
Yeah, he obviously doesn't like what his car is doing with this new tire, and you see Elliott Sadler getting tires.
Let's go to Dave.
Kevin Harvick did not like his race car that time, really plowing the center of the corner, so they're going to make a 4-tire change for Harvick, track bar and air pressure adjustment for him. He hasn't liked riding in the back part of the top 10 either so far. Trying to work his way forward, Doc.
Casey Kane also in. As you can see, they are going for 4 tires.
Well, they're giving up a lot of track position to make these pit stops, but if you don't like your car, you need to get it fixed as soon as possible so you have a lot of race to make up this track position. Because if it's not right, all you're going to do is just keep going back.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Andy. You see some of the guys are pretty happy with their car. They stayed out. But the ones that weren't, I mean, they want to get it fixed now. It's a long race yet to go. Get this thing fixed instead of going out there running slower than you need to be and trying to drive an ill-handling car.
All right, let's tell you that Josh Wise in the 39 will get the lucky dog. He will come around and get us 25 cars back on the lead lap. Right now, it's Kyle Busch in front of Ricky Stenhouse, Brad Keselowski. That's your top 3 here at Bristol.
Concrete, and so far in the early going we've had a tire specification change, seems to have come off without a hitch, and a little typical Bristol fender wrinkling and some cars getting knocked around. These brand new next generation Nationwide Series machines probably not going to look as pretty at the end of these 300 laps as they did at the start. And we welcome you back to ESPN's live coverage of Race 4 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season for 2011. While we work this second caution flag of the race, quick reminder, tomorrow the Sprint Cup Series runs 500 laps here in the Jeff Bird 500 in Thunder Valley. Pre-race coverage, NASCAR Now, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, ESPN2. And the Monday Roundtable wraps it up at 5 Eastern. American Le Mans Series racing the 12 Hours of Sebring. American Le Mans Series presented by Chevrolet and America's premier sports car, Corvette. That's ABC tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time. Next week, Nationwide Series going West Coastin', presented by CiCi's Pizza. Our coverage on ESPN at 5 Eastern Time. And then also next weekend, the IndyCar Series opens up. The On-Site IndyCar Series at St. Petersburg, ABC 12:30 Eastern Time. That is 1 week from tomorrow. Bestwick and Brad over in the pit studio where Kyle Busch has done a good chunk of the leading so far in this race, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has looked awfully good.
Ricky Stenhouse is doing a great job. We expect Kyle Busch to be Kyle Busch. He's going to run up front. And what about Danica Patrick? She's got a good run going thus far, Howard.
Some teams choosing to pit under this second caution and make adjustments to their cars, working on the handling. Casey Kane was the first off pit road in the 38 car. He is back 15th in line for this restart as we get set to go with leader Kyle Busch choosing the outside lane, and Stenhouse, the young one, in the 6, down low. As they head off of turn 4, we head up to the booth to Marty, Rusty, and Andy.
25 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch has selected the high side. Stenhouse right alongside as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Bristol. Boy, Kyle gets a great restart.
Looked like Stenhouse struggled to get rear grip there on the restart.
Like a little build-up on the rear tires. Somebody spun the tires maybe, Andy.
Whoa, look at the 5 of Dale Jr. getting loose. Carl Edwards right behind him. Had to check up.
Well, you ride around this track and pick up all that old rubber on the track with the hot tires, the guys that stayed out. And a lot of times it's really tough to get a good restart because of that.
Brad Keselowski underneath right now as he's trying to get around Jr.
Watched Dale Jr. last night, guys. He didn't run the last practice session. He was told everybody's really confident with this car. They covered it up, didn't run the last session. And look, to me, it's paying off pretty good right now.
These guys still going fender to fender. Up front, Kyle Busch leading by 0.6 of a second. Let's get an update on Dale Earnhardt Jr. What about it, Doc?
Well, Marty, Dale has said the car is so very loose, especially in the corner. He said it is worse up high on the racetrack. I got to get down, and now I'll have some room to get down on the inside. He said when I'm on the outside, I can barely hang on.
So he slides back into the 4th position. You can see the 3 in front of him. Is coming up on him now is the 60 of Carl Edwards.
Guys look to me like they're just logging laps, still trying to figure these cars out. A little bit confused with this tire change. See Michael Annett right now on the outside of Kevin Harvick. Harvick was another guy that was unhappy with his car, made the pit stop, made some changes on his car, trying to get that thing tuned up for the end of the race.
And unfortunately, we've had scoring for a few moments. Now we've lost it again, so we'll do the best we can for you folks. Hang with us. We're back to old school days of racing. We got the calculators out and we're counting laps. Harvick right in front of 62, the Michael Annett machine. Reed Sorensen, the points leader coming into this race.
It's a big day for Michael Annett. His sponsors right from the Knoxville area, right around here. Guys from Pilot Travel Center, from Flying J. He wants to have a good run.
Right now he's under attack from Sorensen. Reed's got the inside line in that 32.
Also got 4 fresh tires on that last stop.
Guys, it just amazes me how they can run side by side every single lap, and it doesn't seem like it hurts the cars. See Sorensen getting a little loose trying to get underneath the net, but they've been running like this lap after lap, and love it or don't love it, this new racetrack, this new design lets you do that.
Let's check in on the 8th. You've got Joey Logano and his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Brian Scott. Here comes Casey Kane. Remember, he restarted in 15th, I think it was. Yes.
Yeah, now he's starting to climb his way back up. He's the first car on the track in the running order that did take 4 tires last stop.
Vince, give us an update on that 38 car.
Yeah, Casey Kane has been way loose, so they've come in a couple of times and made significant adjustments to that race car. He told me before the race they feared it would be loose, but this most recent adjustment, they made a significant chassis adjustment and 4 tires. Seems to be a little bit better for the 38 of Casey Kane.
And he's pulling away from Brian Scott in that 11 machine. Moving a little farther forward, here you've got the 30.
You see Joey Logano there in the 20 car. We're watching his practice numbers from yesterday, his lap times, and they weren't very good. In fact, he ran more laps than I think than anybody did yesterday. Just I was reviewing lap times yesterday, and just tons of laps Joey ran. And it's probably one of the first times I've seen this kid early and going uncomfortable with his car.
Joey right now running in the 9th spot. Jason Leffler in front of him in 8th, and 1 spot ahead of that is Justin Allgaier. There you see him. Back to the battle for 14th right now as Reed Sorensen and Michael Annett going after each other.
These guys just won't quit.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating. You know, Reed's got those fresh tires. He thinks he ought to be able to just drive right around Annett, but Annett's got the preferred groove, at least right now.
Elliott Sadler, that 3rd car back there in the blue 2.
See how the track is starting to get a little bit darker, and that tire is starting to rubber in the groove.
Battle for 8th, Jason Leffler and Joey Logano.
Right behind him, you see Casey Kane now has caught these two pretty quickly.
You know, I'm looking at the lap times on our monitors up here in the booth, and it's just amazing to me how close all this entire field is running for lap times. It's not a big spread. I mean, it's a lot of guys from, say, 5th on down to 15th, almost the same speeds.
You saw those 3 go zipping by the 89 of Morgan Shepherd, the 3-time winner here, or 4-time winner here, actually, in the Nationwide Series at Bristol. He is heading down pit road for an unscheduled stop. Check in on the race lead, because there you can see Kyle Busch in front of the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And as always at Bristol, You seem to always be in traffic when you're under green flag conditions. Stay with us. A lot more racing as we're just approaching the...
Reminder that the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues on ESPN2 tonight. Regional coverage of the first round. Some of the matchups you'll see: Utah, Notre Dame, Montana, UCLA, Hampton, Kentucky, and UC Davis against the number 1 seed, Stanford. The NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship, presented by Capital One, ESPN2 tonight at 6:30 Eastern. ESPN, the exclusive home of the NCAA Women's Championship. Riding on board with Jason Leffler around Thunder Valley, the world's fastest half mile at Bristol Motor Speedway, as the NASCAR Nationwide Series has just crossed the 1/3 mark of today's race. Had a couple of caution flags so far. Kyle Busch in the 18 has done most of the leading, but he's got his hands full right now with lap traffic and that 6 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has just been dogging Kyle Busch all day long, staying right on his rear bumper. We know Kyle's going to be up front in these races, but Ricky Stenhouse has done a great job of not letting him get too far away and at times putting a lot of pressure on him.
Talked about Bristol being a place where you could get your first win that Stenhouse is trying to do. Then there's the guy that's won 3 straight races at Bristol, Kyle Busch, in front of him. Small obstacle. How about Stenhouse reporting on his car after that tire change that happened back at lap 25?
The tires are up out of the racetrack. You know, we're just sliding around on top. Don't seem like they're digging in and really using them. Almost like they just got too much air pressure or something. 10-4.
So Stenhouse and all the other drivers trying to give their crew chiefs as much feedback as they can on how to adjust these cars. Remember, this is a different right side tire now on the car than they started the race on.
And what he's talking about is it's a much firmer tire. You can up on top of the racetrack. He just doesn't feel like he's got that grip and that forward bite that he needs right now. As time goes on, though, and the field starts to come in for these guys, I think all this will go away. And he's digging all over Kyle Busch right now, who is very fast, by the way.
And as we go back upstairs to Marty, DJ, and Andy, you know, as the crew chief, you're only going to have another 1, maybe 2 more chances to adjust on that car the whole rest of this race.
Yeah, you're right, Alan. Things happen so fast here, but what you don't want to do, I mean, he does have a good car. I really believe his car's better than Kyle's at this point. He doesn't want to adjust himself out of the ballpark. You know, especially with these tire pressures, you know, you can get off on that and then and not get it back before the end of the race.
You know, the tire pressure you just mentioned, that's a huge adjustment tool here at this particular racetrack. And yesterday I was kind of walking around the garage area talking to some guys, and a lot of guys are using a simulation tool right now, and it calls for a lot of air pressure, but old school tells you, hey, get that air out of the tires. They'll probably make their car better.
Mike Bliss has gotten 2 laps down now as he has been passed by the front 2. And Danica Patrick, the last car on the lead lap, in 20th position. She is about to go a lap down here on lap 117.
Yeah, last restart, she lost a ton of spots and got in kind of a jam and lost a lot of time. Now it's going to cost her a lap.
That's one thing about this track. You just cannot lay back on the restarts. You got to get all you can, because you're running around this racetrack in about 16 seconds. You're going to get a lap quick if you don't hustle on these restarts. So I found that out the hard way.
She ran 236 laps in the 4 practice sessions yesterday. And right now, as we mentioned, she is 1 lap down now in the lucky dog position in 20th place. Top of the hour, if you've just tuned in, let's get you caught up. We're working lap number 120 of 300 as Kyle Busch has led a total of 88 laps so far. We've had 3 different leaders here, a total of 2 lead changes, 2 cautions. The first, the mandatory at lap 25, where they wanted to change the tires. And then the second one for a 2-car crash involving Trevor Bayne. He is back out on the track, but he is also a lap down. Let's get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. And first up is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Kyle Busch picking up where he left off here last August when he dominated all 3 events here to win the Nationwide Camping World Truck Series and Sprint Cup events. Kyle right now says the car is still very, very tight in the middle, but loose in and loose off. He's been told by his crew chief, hey, I can fix the middle, but I will kill your exits. Why don't we just leave it alone? Vince.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. having another outstanding run. Has led some laps today, currently running second. Big change from a year ago when he was 36th in points at this stage. He says the biggest improvement for him is the fact that he's learned how to race in this series. He's learned when to push and when to ease out, when to take what the car has given him. He says that's been the biggest difference. Right now, the car a little loose in for Stenhouse. Jamie?
And Brad Keselowski in the 22 behind him started this race 12th. He said as this run goes on, his car is getting a little tighter with that new right side tire. He is very sensitive, though, about the tire wear. Remember, the last 2 weeks, he cut a tire in the last 2 races. So his team telling him, nobody's complaining, the tires are good. Doc?
Back last August, it took Dale Earnhardt Jr. 225 laps to drop from 34th starting spot into the top 5. It only took you 3 laps to get in the top 5 today. He thinks he's got a very good race car. Right now, a little bit loose, even more loose at the top of the racetrack. And Dale just told his crew chief, right now the car is getting better and better lap after lap. Vince.
Running fifth is the 60 of Carl Edwards, a winner here at this track back in 2007. They've worked hard on this car throughout the practice sessions this weekend. Took some big swings at it to get it fast for Carl. Pretty solid right now. He says it's turning in nice, but it's still a little tight through the center for the 60 of Carl Edwards running fifth.
Next up is the 88 car of Eric Almirola, one of the cars owned by Junior Motorsports. And Eric said this is the kind of racetrack he's been looking forward to thus far this year. They have struggled with tight race cars the first 3 events. He has not had a top 10 finish yet. Eric told his crew he thinks we have at least a top 3 car today, if not better. Jamie.
And Joey Logano in the 20, we've talked about him a little bit. He actually just came on the radio moments ago and said, guys, I'm glad we stayed out that last round of stops. This car is getting better as the pressure builds up on this new tire. So Joey Logano liking the change in the tire and liking his car right now. Vince?
The 38 of Casey Kane is running 8th. This is the 3rd time that he has run with crew chief Stuart Cooper here at Bristol. All 3 times they've had fast race cars, but all 3 races have ended in accidents. They both told me today they feel like they're due. Right now they've been working on getting that car to snug up for Casey Kane. Dave Burns?
After making a pit stop, Kevin Harvick restarted 16th on this run. He's driven all the way up to the 9th position. The last time, he said the car was plowing, so they made a track power air pressure adjustment. He just radioed in. He said the car is still tight in the center, but at least he didn't use the word plowing.
And Justin Allgaier behind him in the 31. He said the car is getting better as the race goes on. He wasn't that thrilled with it in practice, but so far the changes have worked. They too stayed out that last round of stops. Let's go back upstairs to Marty.
17 cars still on the lead lap. 7 are either out of this race or behind the wall. You've got a complete update now on the top 10. There they are. Ricky Stenhouse, the only group in that top 5 that has never won here at Bristol. Does that change today? Reed Sorensen doing all he can in that 32 to stay on the lead lap. The race leader is the 18 of Kyle Busch, and right behind him the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse. And your top 5 rounds out with Keselowski, Earnhardt Jr., and Edwards. What's significant here was Sorensen came into this race as the points leader, but look what's happened so far with the performance by Stenhouse. He has taken over that number 1 spot.
Right now, Reed Sorensen in position to get this lucky dog, and he's... Man, he wants to hold on to it, too.
Yeah, he better take care of that car. He won't be able to take advantage of that.
Sorensen got into Cook, then Cook sort of slowed up, and so did Reed, and Stenhouse got into...
Well, the leaders are catching a lot better cars now, and it's going to be a little more difficult for Kyle just to whiz right by them. So it's a chance now maybe Stenhouse could close, but it looks like Kyle's the one that's taking advantage of it because he's pulled away from him.
We'll let you know that Chris Lawson climbed into the 79 now and finally made an appearance on track. He's 142 laps down. That was the issue. There he is with Jennifer Jo Cobb. After she was told she was going to have to start and park, she said no way and climbed out of the car. We got her side of it and talked to the car owner, but he could not hear the question. So that gets you up to date on that story if you've tuned in late. Brad Keselowski currently 3rd, talking about tires.
But I'm just not grinding the tire in the ground. I'm nervous about it. We're 100 laps in,
Well, for more, let's check in over at the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Marty. What Brad's talking about, when he drives the car off in the corner, he's really scrubbing the right front tire. But if he's got a lot of camber in the tire, he's going to really abuse the tire right here. Now, when he says grinding the tires, this is the rubber that's literally coming off the tires during the race. The trick being there, if he runs it down in the cords, he's more apt to blow the right front tire, and that's not going to be a good result. Guys?
Yeah, Tim, and this car, the 22 car's had tire issues the last 2 races, so he's pretty sensitive to that. He doesn't want to have another one here.
We've just passed the halfway mark. We can tell you we had 3 different leaders right now. Kyle Busch has 119 laps led and counting. Look at this mess as he is side by side with Brian Scott. Scott going 1 lap down. So now we're up to, or down to, 12 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about. These cars, these are a lot better cars now. They're not going to just lay over for Kyle Busch. They're going to race him as hard as possible. See Stephen Wallace now using that outside lane for momentum. Try to keep that 18th car from getting clear.
Stephen trying to stay on the lead lap as well. Can't do it. Ricky Stenhouse is not giving up, though. He is falling back a little bit, but he is now going underneath the 11 as well. Working lap 154 of 300. We're past halfway, and we're looking at green flag stops in about another 6 to 10 laps. Stay with us. We'll find out what happens under green.
The Scott's Easy Seed 300 continues live on ESPN. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Looking at race leader Kyle Busch, who has not been on pit road since lap 27. He's just completed lap 163 now, which means we're going to be coming up on some green flag pit stops. And here at Bristol, the only track with separate pit roads, front stretch, back stretch, that means different procedures for pitting under green than under caution.
Yeah, really got to pay attention on this, guys. You can come in on either side and exit on the same side that you come in. If you come in under caution, you have to come in off 2 and go all the way around. So it's going to be interesting. It makes it really, really hectic down on pit road. But guys got to hit their marks, hit their spots, and keep that track position with good pit stops.
Kyle Busch with the first pit at the entrance of pit road off of turn number 2, the entrance to that backstretch pit road, while Ricky Stenhouse has the last pit on the front stretch pit road. And he's got to come all the way down before he makes his stop and do it like that. Come in off of turn number 4 instead of messing it up. It seems like every time we have one of these sets of green flag pit stops at Bristol, at least once a race, somebody messes it up. But Stenhouse running second, got it right this time. He's on pit road as he completes the 167th lap of this race. Vince?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to get a 4-tire change. They're also going to make a chassis adjustment in the right rear. It's still a little too free on entry and tight in the middle. Doc?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. very, very loose in the middle. They will change 4 tires and try to get it completely full of the Sunoco E15 fuel. Remember, Earnhardt can now go all the way to checker flag if he wants to. Marty?
All right, Doc, so Junior comes back out onto the track. Another series of pit stops still to come. We can tell you Mike Bliss is also in. He is 4 laps down right now in 30th position. A total of 10 cars at this moment on the lead lap. But again, we're going to be cycling through pit stops, so things are going to be happening fast and furious. Kyle Busch is still the race leader. He's leading Brad Keselowski by 5.2 seconds. You saw Carl Edwards there in the 60. He is listed in 3rd. Logano is in 4th, but here comes Carl Edwards now down pit road as he has to slow down to 30 miles an hour. That's pit road speed. Vince, coming your way.
Carl Edwards looking for that big breakthrough performance. He was 2nd at Phoenix and 6th at Vegas. They felt like maybe they had a winner here today. So far, they've been hanging around the top 5. It's going to be a 4-tire change, also making an air pressure adjustment to go with that Sunoco fuel. Car is tight in the middle and a little loose in. Marty.
And you can see them still finishing up the work. The clock is still ticking. And 16.9, a little bit longer than they probably wanted. Still out on track is Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Casey Kane. There is Kyle in a 5-car mix-up as he's trying to get around the 30. That is Jason Leffler. And Leffler is running in 9th position right now.
And Allgaier go real high in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it looks like Justin Allgaier in a 31. starting to have some problems. He slid way up high. There he goes again.
Right front, down, inside, clear low, get it down there, all clear.
You heard him say right front, so they have a tire issue.
Guys, right front, down.
So Justin Allgaier, who was shown in 9th position, is going to have to bring it in. Jamie?
That's exactly right. There was not much warning. He said, guys, right front. You saw him just save it and keep it off the wall. He's coming in. It was just about a few laps from when he was going to pit anyway. They're going to put 4 tires on it, and thankfully, the car is okay.
Right side of your screen, you can see Jason Leffler still trying to hold off Kyle Busch. Trying oh so desperately to stay on the lead lap. He is listed in 8th position. And so now, as he gets around, 7 cars on the lead lap. But again, remember, Kyle has to make his stop. Coming up on the 99 of Ryan Truex, who celebrated a birthday just yesterday. Here comes Michael Annett, Jamie.
He's in. The word is take 4 tires here. He's been working with this car. It's interesting how the new right side has made all of these cars tight through the middle. That seems to be the same deal. They're going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. You see the can in the left rear.
16.8, very close to the same time we saw for Carl Edwards. This is our first green flag stretch over 100 laps at Bristol ever in this series. So a little bit of history on the length. And right now, Kyle Busch is not complaining. His lead over Brad Keselowski, 4.5 seconds.
Well, he had that Ricky Stenhouse was kind of stalking him there, and Ricky made that pit stop. So now he's able to get some laps on these new tires. Maybe he can make some of this ground up on Kyle Busch.
Remember we told you it's 30 miles an hour on speed. Oh no, and again, how many times this year have we seen the 22?
The 3rd in a row right there.
Now.
Right front again.
Keep the caution down now.
Caution has come out, our 3rd of the day. Remember, he was leading the race at Las Vegas.
And we heard him earlier today say that he was worried about he was putting too much pressure on that right front, the way the car was, that he was afraid this was going to happen.
All right, as a crew chief, are you starting to look at camber situations?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a trend now for this team, that they're going to have to get this under control.
There he goes.
Yeah, just takes off right there. But tell you, this new car is a lot tougher than that old car we used to run last year. These babies can take a powder and keep on ticking, it looks like. The Cup cars are much stronger. And because of that, these Nationwide cars look about like the Cups when it comes to being tough.
Yeah, that's a big breakdown for Kyle Busch, though. He stayed on the track. He'll make his stop under caution.
And we'll probably have several cars take the wave around as well to get back on that lead lap.
A lot of different setups out there, Marty. I've been looking at a lot of different cars. A lot of them running what they call the conventional setup, big front springs. A lot of them running what they call the coil-bound setup, real soft. Here comes Kyle Busch, guys.
Your race leader, and he's first pit right there, Doc.
They are told to be very deliberate, not only getting it full of Sunoco fuel, putting the 4 tires on, and you have got to clean that front grille. It has got a lot of tire debris and dust on it. Dave.
Doc, Kevin Harvick has gone back to using the word plowing about his race car. He'll come down and give out the 5th position on the racetrack right now. Waiting to see, here he comes. Tires for this race car, and also Kevin wants a piece of duct tape to be put into the car through the window. His fresh air hose is flopping around in a way that he doesn't like, so he'll get some repairs made on the interior of that car, as well as getting a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment for a car that is very tight through the center of the corner. Jamie Little.
And Joey Logano, we sound like a broken record, but he too tight. They're going up on the track bar. 4 tires, they'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Vince.
The 38 of Casey Kane has been fighting loose all day long. They're going to go up around on the right rear wedge, 4 tires, and try to get that thing a little tighter for Casey Kane. Been battling the same thing all day, Marty.
12.4 seconds. That is a good pit stop for that crew. And as Casey Kane comes across the line, he gets back out, and the race off pit road. Kyle Busch will maintain the race lead. Kane picks up a spot. Joey drops 1. Harvick and Almirola each pick up 1 as well. Stephen Wallace gets the lucky dog. 6 wave around. Stenhouse, Bliss, Dale Jr., Edwards, Allgaier, Trevor Bayne, your leader up front. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Second was Casey Kane and the 18. Again, scoring had us a little mixed up. We got it straight. Kevin Harvick now has worked his way into third.
Yeah, well, the top 3 cars have the same paint scheme, so hard to tell the difference.
And that is amazing. There's a lot of paint schemes out there. Look awful close. That 38 car to 33 car. You see the 20 down there. 18, the leader. This guy's got to get together and change their paint schemes around a little bit.
Elliott Sadler running in that 4th spot. There's Eric Almirola in the 88. He's under attack from Joey Logano in the 20.
That was a crucial stop this last one. Let's let these guys really tune on these cars for this tire change, and a lot of them needed it. There was only like 10 cars in the lead lap, and Kyle Busch was putting it on everybody.
Yeah, we have a total of 8 on the lead lap, and then another group, including Ricky Stenhouse Jr., that is 1 lap down. They got the wave around. They're at the back of that lap.
That's our old bottleneck coming off of turn 4 right there. You see Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards behind Justin Allgaier. Justin gets loose, slides up the middle of the track. Now it's 3 wide off of turn 2, off of turn 4.
Carl Edwards right behind the 31 of Justin Allgaier there. There's Trevor Bayne. Bayne has had his hands full today. And the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., we're being told, has a pass-through penalty, and he is making that pass right now. He doubled up with the lead lap cars, and so he was in the wrong spot. So
they should have told us where to line up.
You can hear him. He is lamenting this, and one of the fastest cars all day is now in some serious trouble.
Yeah, for this young guy, this is a real frustrating move. This happening because he's got a fast car. Now, I think he can get himself back in the lead lap, but right now he's 2 laps down. He's going to have some patience.
With 2/3 of this race gone, these last 100 laps go quick.
Well, you know, I tell you, I talked earlier on our countdown show about snapshots of greatness. Ricky Stenhouse was running with Kyle Busch throughout this race. That's, in my opinion, guys, that's the type of stuff that Jack Roush looks at. The kid could do it. Yeah, now he made a mistake getting lined up, but hey, there was a snapshot that we were getting ready to be heroes.
Saw Trevor Bayne there. Now we change our coverage over to the 60 of Carl Edwards as he is fighting hard with Justin Allgaier.
I'm kind of surprised Carl hadn't run better today. You know, this is his kind of racetrack. He's on the pole for the Cup race. Just hadn't had the setup with this car.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that, you see the left-hand side of the screen there, he won so many races on these concrete racetracks that we gave him a nickname, Concrete Carl, and he kept on winning these things. But it's like you said, Alan, Andy, a little surprising that he doesn't have a handle better than what he's got now.
Right side of your screen is the battle for 5th. Eric Almirola ahead of Joey Logano.
They also said everybody gets a gimme today because of the tire change. If you're set up off,
Almirola goes around, and can everybody avoid him? Caution is out.
You're good. You're good.
2/3 of the way.
Front here pops off a 4.
Our 5th place car turns it around.
Boy, he got real lucky not to hit anything. It's hard to do that here.
He's got a right rear flat on that car. That could have caused it.
No, it actually looked like that right rear blade actually slid. I saw it blow out.
It felt good at the beginning, and then it got really, really, really looser. Felt like it got a flat left rear, it felt like.
Oh, it is the right side. You can see it's down. So a tough break for Eric. Yeah. We talked about the fact that they had such a dismal outing 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas. Hey, let's go on board.
It does get really loose right up there.
Right in front of us, get up. That's lucky dog, bitches.
Yeah, I think this breaks loose big time. Now, I can't tell if sliding like this blew the right rear tire out, or else it blew coming off at turn 4, causing this problem. It's hard to tell. Did a good job keeping her off the wall.
Got several takers coming down pit road, including Eric Almirola, obviously. Also, we can tell you it's 66 of Stephen Wallace and the 22 of Brad Keselowski. Leaders did not pit this time, so they have stayed out. We had a total of 8 cars on the lead lap. Looks like Jason Leffler will get the lucky dog. That'll give us 9. There you see Jason in the 30. One more look at it. And a tough break for Eric Almirola. All right, let's reset it for you. Kyle Busch, Casey Kane are up front. Kyle's going to select the high side again. Elliott Sadler, Harvick 4th, Logano 5th. The 22 of Brad Keselowski, too fast entering. He'll restart at the back of the field. A total of only 9 cars on the lead lap. Green flag flies again, and we're back racing with 96 to go. And Kyle Busch picks up right where he left off. He is 64 laps away from leading 10,000 in his career. Nobody else is close.
Kyle Busch does something I see every single time he gets in the front. He seems, guys, to get out ahead of everybody better than anybody coming through the gearbox and on these restarts.
No, what is he doing that all these other guys are not doing?
It's like he just anticipates everything. It's like this is his most favorite thing to do, restarts. And he just does it with perfection.
Great battle for second. As you can see, Harvick and Kane going all over. And Harvick not happy on the radio. Listen in.
Christ, David, what are you doing? I mean, everything that we have not made the car better once today. No, I'm going to tell you, we ain't doing a very good job. It ain't late model racing, bud. I mean, if it ain't, the track bar won't go up, and it keeps getting tighter. I mean, the thing is on the freaking ground now.
Caution is out on the racetrack, and the 05 of Willie Allen, you can see he has brushed the wall. NASCAR is going to take no chances of debris.
I'm almost going to have to disagree with Kevin a little bit. I think he has improved that car some. He's running second. Looked pretty good there on that restart.
The thing I heard about it, Kevin, was it sounded a little confusing because he's the guy usually tells him what he wants. Change this, change that, do this, and now he's putting on David Hyder for him to make the changes.
Keep an eye on the 05.
Ooh.
He got it from all angles there, didn't he?
Danica Patrick got him in the back, got him up in the wall, and yeah, he got beat up big time there.
That's typical Bristol right there. You can see he gets loose underneath Keselowski. That's a check up. Danica gets into the back of him and into the wall.
And then
back into Danica.
And Danica, we can tell he's 22nd right now, 2 laps down. The 32 of Reed Sorensen's going to get the lucky dog. And that'll put us with 10 cars back on the lead lap. Here as our 5th caution has unfolded. We can show you that absolutely no one is going to be a taker this time. There was the pit entrance, and the race leader, Kyle Busch, stays out with Kevin Harvick second, Kasey Kahne, Elliott Sadler, and Joey Logano, your top 5 with 91 to go.
Time for the 5-hour energy rapid recap. Competition caution at lap 25 for teams to swap to a different right side tire spec during the race. Trevor Bayne has had some trouble, been into the wall at his hometown track. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has also had some trouble, got penalized under a caution flag, was trapped after making a green flag pit stop earlier. It's just been kind of a tough day for the old number 6.
He has been really, really strong. It's too bad he's trapped back in traffic. Brad Keselowski, again, we see with another right front tire failure. We've seen a couple of those this year from him. Knocks it down, hits the wall pretty hard at right front.
2 races in a row for the double deuce, and Brad Keselowski still on the lead lap, 9th position, but has been into the wall here today. And the championship leader starting this race is behind the wall, hoods up on the 32 car. We'll have a follow-up on that in just a minute. First, we're going back racing with 87 laps to go. I talk about a lot happening in a short period of time. That was a lot happening in a short period of time. Kyle Busch, the leader, Marty, Rusty, and Andy.
And you see the 2 of Elliott Sadler as he is taking over the 2nd spot from Kevin Harvick. Kasey Kahne running in 4th. This is the best Sadler has looked all season long. We expected a lot from this guy here.
Well, he got the outside lane on that restart that time. I think it was really key. He got stuck on the bottom last time. I think he's got a good car.
Yeah, he was paying attention on that restart. He saw what Kyle Busch did last time, and this time Sadler comes with the gearbox. Looked like he was in a drag race. Shot out of a cannon, did a great job in his restart.
And remember, this is the backup car. The primary crashed on lap 6 of the very first practice.
Yeah, that's a pretty good recovery, too. He just drives right by the boss on the outside.
Well, Kevin Harvick's building good cars over there at his shop, and he's built identical cars. So they went from the backup, went from the real car to the backup, not much of a difference.
With the 32 behind the wall, Jason Leffler in the 30 is now your nationwide points leader. He's got his hands full. There is Reed climbing out. So his day is over. And Leffler right now running 7th. Stephen Wallace in front of him in 6th. We can tell you Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in that mix, but Dale is 1 lap down in 10th. He's in the lucky dog spot. Doc, let's talk to Reed.
Well, our points leader has climbed down. Reed, what happened?
I think we just blew a motor. We couldn't see anything coming. It was just
just all of a sudden blew up. You know, we got the lucky dog. We were pretty excited, and then it started blowing out smoke.
Okay, the Hendrick guys are looking at the engine and wanted to try to get Reed back out. They say now it is locked up. It might have swallowed the valve. They'll take the valve covers off and try to look.
Well, Mark Martin took the 32 to victory at Las Vegas. It's not going to happen today for Reed Sorensen. On board with Dale Jr., looking back on Joey Logano. 9 cars on the lead lap. We mentioned Dale is in 10th in the lucky dog spot. 80 laps remaining, and they're going to fly by fast.
Junior's got this car rolling pretty good, though, even though he's a lap down. If he can catch a caution and get back on the lead lap, he might have something for him.
Yeah, I'm looking at his lap times. They're right there. I mean, they're as fast as the leaders. When you see Carl Edwards there, he's trying to catch Junior because he's also a lap down. He wants to get the lucky dog and get caught up and get back in this game.
Carl is in 11th position. We can tell you James Buescher is 12th right now in the 34, not in this shot. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is even further back. Remember, he had a great car early in this race. He is 2 laps down as a result of that speeding, or the lineup, I should say, on the restart. Okay, let's go back up front. You saw Kyle Busch. He's got a 9/10 of a second lead over Elliott Sadler. He's led 191 laps today. Of the 224 that we have run, he is one of 4 different leaders. And Kyle has never lost a race after leading 175 laps or more in a race. Bad news for everybody else if the trend holds.
Yeah.
How about 7th place on the racetrack? Stephen Wallace, Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski. That's all for position.
Yeah, how about Keselowski? Pounds the wall after blowing that right front, and he's still very competitive.
It just amazes me, these new cars, how tough they are with that foam in the right side of the doors. They're just stronger, tougher cars.
Almirola had his own issues as well, and here he is battling 3 cars in the mix. There's the 34 of James Buescher. He's 12th, 1 lap down. Let's get an update. Jamie Little.
Well, guys, there's been a lot going on with Brad Keselowski and his team. They've already made 4 pit stops to repair that car after the hard hit when he cut a tire. Basically, he went back out on the track, and the right front splitter was dragging. They repaired that in those subsequent 3 stops. The car right now coming back to him, and he's one mad driver, Vince.
Well, and you see Keselowski battling there with the 66 of Stephen Wallace. Wallace has had a good run today, and his pit stops have been stellar. His crew's done a great job over the wall. That yellow flag on lap 185 came at the perfect time. That's helped them stay up toward the front, Marty.
He's still got his hands full, though, with Brad Keselowski as those guys are battling it out for that 8th position on the racetrack. The race leader is Kyle Busch. He's opened up the lead to 1.6 seconds over Elliott Sadler, with Kevin Harvick running in 3rd. And you see the race leader putting Blake Cook another lap down. You're looking at Michael Annett. He is the reason for our 6th caution. Happened during the break as he got it turned around, just nudged the wall. Let's take another look at it, guys.
That baby way up high on top of the racetrack. I know Trevor Bayne gets in his left rear quarter panel, just spins them, and Michael does a good job holding on to it.
Yeah, Annett gave him really the whole racetrack right there.
Justin Allgaier did a good job.
Yeah, he did a good job getting by this. You can see, I mean, Annett can't get much higher.
Yeah, it's about as high as he could. It's just tight racing here at Bristol. It happens. But what amazes me, Annett hits the wall, and it hardly even puts a dent on the car. That's how tough those cars are.
All right, nobody has come in from the front 3 positions. Stay with us. We'll step aside quickly.
Okay.
Just went back to green flag racing. Kyle Busch was on point. The top 7 cars did not pit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the wave around. 10 cars, or a lucky dog, I should say. 10 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, the only unlucky thing about Junior, he has to start at the tail end of the longest line there, so he doesn't get to line up behind the leaders. But he did get 4 tires.
Okay, he came in for a pit stop after getting the lucky dog. Doc, give us the strategy on that.
They decided to go ahead and come on pit road and take 4 tires and fill it up with fuel. And by the way, just before he came in, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, "This is the best car on a long run I can ever remember having at Bristol. We put 4 tires on this thing, boys. We can win this race." So watch out for that 5 car. Very, very confident Dale Earnhardt Jr. now on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, I agree, Doc. I think he has one of the better cars. If he can get another quick caution here where he can line up with the leaders, I believe he has something for him.
Chris Heroy, of course, calling the shots. Biggest thing he's got to watch out is he's on 4 fresh tires. A lot of those guys in front of him are not. Okay, one thing I've noticed, so you pick up about 3 or 4 tenths on new tires, a lot less than what I'm accustomed to seeing. So Junior's in the back, and it is going to take him a while to get to the front, and I think he's going to have a caution to get back in the game right now.
Yeah, this is the car, though, the Casey Kane, this 38, that took 4 tires, and he has track position, drives it around Keselowski on the outside, and Keselowski's car is a little bit wounded.
And that puts Kane up into the 5th position, Vince.
Well, when Kane came in, he had to go back 8th, but remember, he took on those 4 fresh tires, said the nose has been pushing, but he still doesn't feel like he has enough grip in the right rear, so they addressed that, and their pit stops have been spectacular. The 48 crew, Jimmy Johnson, pitting this team today, and they have been spot on, Marty.
Well, and all those cars, like we said, from 7th back, they're basing some of this on statistics because the last green flag stretch has been 32 laps or less in the last 16 Bristol races in this series. So they get the track position back when everybody else would have to stop.
Well, the leaders don't have to stop. They can make it the rest of the way. I think right now you're just seeing the difference in strategy with, Casey Kane taking these tires. His car was not good enough to win. They made a good call by bringing it in. Now we have a caution.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
And it's Danica Patrick, the first time this year. She has tagged the wall.
You okay?
She was running in the 17th position, 2 laps down.
It's just one of those things here. One of those things off the corner.
I said if she can get a top 20 finish, that's awful good for her right here. I mean, their first time here, she was looking good, running 17th. That had been my goal for her. Give me a good top 20. Let me get out of Bristol clean. Let's see what happens here, guys.
I just got up into Ryan Truex, and then, oh, man, hammered that wall.
Oh, and they saw the Scott Wimmer, he was trying to avoid it. He got turned around as well.
It was a hard hit.
This just shows you how fast you go at this little racetrack.
Good point. A lot of people think it's a short track. You're not running too fast, but you're getting in those corners close to 140 miles an hour here at Bristol. Still flying around this little racetrack.
Bad news for Danica Patrick. Good news for Carl Edwards. He was in the lucky dog position. That'll put 11 cars back
She's
on
mad,
the lead
man.
lap.
Look at this. She's going to get out in the racetrack. She is like, what is going on, dude?
I didn't see him do anything. I didn't see Truex do anything there.
Well, we mentioned Ryan turned 19 just yesterday.
These two might have been racing awful hard a couple laps before that because it looked to me like Danica actually went up and hit the back of Ryan Truex Jr. And that's what got her loose.
Well, let's go on board with Danica and take a ride as we head to commercial break.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at CodeSpotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
Under our 7th caution after Danica Patrick has contact with the wall, and I guarantee you she thinks it's Ryan Truex's fault. I think you have a different opinion.
Well, I just didn't see anything there that Ryan Truex did. Looked like she got into the back of him and then lost the car.
I mean, Lisa,
something maybe earlier.
Yeah, earlier. We kept trying to look for that, and we haven't seen it yet. But take a look at this. Here's Danica right on the bottom of the track. She goes up the track.
Yeah, that was my fault. I guess she thought I meant to do that. Don't worry, she's never been wrong about anything in her whole life. I wouldn't worry about it.
So that was Ryan Truex's radio.
Yeah, I don't know. On that particular shot right there, it looks like I saw Ryan's car kind of come down a little bit, and hers goes up. So, hey, you know what? You got to get me on this when you're at Bristol. This happens
it's a Bristol.
all the time.
It's kind of a Bristol accident there. Just typical things you see. But you can see right here, she's not happy.
I tell you, we see this in IndyCar racing. She gets mad. When she gets mad, she shows her frustration, and right there, she's letting him know that she is not happy.
And speaking of IndyCar, she'll be making a 100th start next week in St. Petersburg, and we'll have that race over on ABC at 12:30 Eastern Sunday. Just went back to green flag racing again with Kyle Busch out in front. Trouble behind him. The 34 Buscher goes around, and everybody's scrambling.
Down, hand up.
So with 44 laps to go, now our 8th caution. And that means, well, Buscher would have gotten the lucky dog, but
A lot of smoke. It looked like everybody was able to drive away.
He was running 12th. He was in the lucky dog spot.
Now, you can't take advantage of that, though, if he brings out the caution.
That's right. Of course, Carl got the lucky dog last time, so that put him back on the lead lap. He is in the 11th position.
It looked like maybe Brian Scott will get the lucky dog this time.
Keep an eye on that 34.
Well, looks like Brian Scott got into him.
And then he almost gets into Stenhouse in the 6. A great move by the 51 of Jeremy Clements and the 09 of Kenny Wallace to avoid him.
Yeah, Stenhouse is still 2 laps down, struggling trying to get those back.
Okay, 2 cautions ago. It was Danica Patrick hitting the wall hard. Jamie Little's caught up with her.
And her first race at Bristol ends early. But Danica, you showed some emotion there toward Ryan Truex. What do you feel happened?
I mean, to know for sure, I'd have to see the replay a couple times to look. But, I mean, what it felt like to me was that it felt like to me I came out of the corner and I was just running down the straight, and it felt like he came off the wall. And I don't know if he had a tank slap off the wall, like he was pushing up and then it snapped on him and he came off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt right there, but I know I was running him early, and it was just, he just runs hard. You know, he just runs hard. He ran hard. He's run hard every time I've been around him, and it just seems like overkill. Like, if your car is good, you'll go forward. If your car isn't, you'll go back, and that's just what, you know, that's just a lot of NASCAR. And so, you know, there was still enough racing left that whoever's car was faster was going to get ahead. So I'm just disappointed. You know, I felt like actually this was a pretty decent run at Bristol for the first time, and got caught out a little bit with the tires on that first stop that we stayed out and got up high and got eaten alive. But I don't think it was too bad. So you know, just disappointing to not get the finish. I had such a good run of finishes that it's disappointing to leave for a couple of months with this kind of a thing. But that's Bristol, I guess, you know, and it gets the best of them. Any track, really, you know, you just don't finish the race because something happens, and I'm just pretty disappointed.
All right, Danica Patrick will be back in a NASCAR stock car in June. Until then, next week, she goes back to the IndyCar Series in St. Pete. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. As we can tell you, it's been one of those days for Danica. She had her good moments and some of her bad. There was a little tap that she recovered from Stephen Wallace. And then there was Trevor Bayne when the windshield of his car got soaked and he went on the tire, skidded all the way up to the wall. Damage there, and then this was the last one. And from that angle, guys, it looked like maybe Ryan did come over a little, but was it enough?
Well, he was just trying to save his car a little bit off the corner, and yeah, he did come down a little bit, but you got to be, you know, you got to leave enough room for that to happen when you're racing each other.
And the truth about Bristol is you've got to drive aggressive. She just learned another lesson.
This happened to the best of them, I'll tell you that, so she shouldn't feel bad.
All right, it's Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Elliott Sadler, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Joey Logano as we go back to green. And keep an eye on 4 more laps, because Kyle Busch will set another record that no one has ever come close to. 10,000 laps led.
Yeah, 10,000 laps. That's unbelievable.
That's just in this series.
He's got clear track right now. We all know when you get them up front, those cars handle a lot better. That old air gets on that spoiler and on that splitter and makes them handle better. Get back in that traffic, that car's just not near as quick. And he always gets those good restarts. Talk about restarts. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got himself back up in there right now in the 3rd position.
He's got fresher tires than the 2 cars in front of him.
Casey Kane in 4th, and then the first championship eligible driver in the Nationwide Series, Elliott Sadler in 5th, Eric Almirola in 6th. Let's get an update on Junior. Doc?
Well, Andy mentioned it, guys. All the guys around Dale Jr. have 65 to 70 laps on their tires. Dale Jr. has just 15 laps on his tires. He said the car is very consistent. He's going to try to work the bottom of the racetrack and try to get around and make a move. He feels like they got a car that can win this race.
And just as you finish up, Doc, lap 265, and Kyle Busch in only his 206th nationwide start, first man ever to lead 10,000 laps. And there he is, and he's still up front, and he's pulling away. There it is, Mark Martin, almost 2,000 behind in 2nd place. Kevin Harvick even farther back in 3rd. Battle for second heating up as 3 cars are in this mix. The 33 of Harvick as we go on board with him. Dale Jr. underneath him. He's got the spot. Can he hold on to it? Oh, little bump on the wall.
Oh, yeah, they did little contact there. Smoke coming out of his car now.
33 to go. Everybody's tightening the belts. And Casey Kane is the one that ends up being the big winner in the mix. He says, see you, boys. Let's get an update on that 33. Dave Burns.
Well, Kevin Harvick's car is still tight. Been talking about it all day, but he's racing for everything he's worth there at the end to try to get his 6th win here at Bristol. His teammate Elliott Sadler, wasn't he second just a couple of restarts ago? It's that inside line on the restart. He actually got jumped by the 33 and has not recovered that track position since.
Sadler right now shown in the 5th spot.
That's been the thing that's killed Elliott Sadler, is having to start on the inside. His car won't go down there. He needs that outside lane, and it's really killed him, especially with these cars with better tires able to start up there too.
Left side of your screen is the battle for 10th. Edwards and Stephen Wallace.
And they've been running side by side, lap after lap. Now Stephen gives away, tucks in behind him.
Brian Scott is in the 12th position, but he is the first car a lap down. He's in the lucky dog position. 29 laps to go.
We're watching Casey Kane's lap times now. He's starting to inch in on Kyle Busch. If this thing goes green, he might have something for Kyle.
Hey, talking about Kyle, I've been watching his lines around this racetrack, Andy. In both corners, he's running up about a lane higher up on that more banking. We got 26 degrees on the bottom, 30 up top, and that's where he's running.
Jason Leffler, and what's significant here in this battle for 8th with Brad Keselowski, right now, the way it shapes up, he'll come out of here with the points lead. He would have a 2-point lead over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Let's get an update on that 30. How about it, Dave?
And Marty, the keeper Leffler was getting that lucky dog a few yellows ago. He had to race by 3 cars extremely hard after a restart to get into that position, including teammate Reed Sorensen. Had damage to one tire, but he radioed before they came in. They said, boys, that's why we race hard all the time.
Jason Leffler has never led the points in his Nationwide Series career. Today could change that. You know, we mentioned Ricky Stenhouse. He is 14th right now in 2 laps down. Of course, that penalty is what really set him back. He's never been able to recover from that.
No, I couldn't get back from that one. He's got to be so frustrated when this race is over because he's got fast lap times. He run up front throughout the whole day. But again, guys, it's Bristol. Things are going to happen. We know he can drive the car, and he's looking good. He's there now. He's just got to finish the deal and get his first win.
It doesn't look like it'll be today, however, as there's just 23 laps to go, and Kyle Busch just keeps clicking them off. We've had 4 different leaders, but Kyle has led 245 laps. Ricky led 28, but they were early in the race.
You know, you got to believe these Cup guys that are in the Nationwide race, they've got to learn something for tomorrow. They got to take that information and learn from this tire change and apply it to what they're going to do. They did get one practice session, the Cup guys did, but still, I think it's an advantage for them to be in this race to transfer over to tomorrow.
And this battle continues between Keselowski and Edwards. This is a battle for 9th. And they've been known in the past not to give each other too much quarter, but so far, so good.
So you got to give Keselowski crew a lot of credit for getting this car back competitive again after that right front tire went down and he hit the wall and caused a lot of damage.
You mentioned earlier they've had problems with the right front corner on this 22 car all year long with blowing tires out, and they probably learned a lot from this particular race about be a little more conservative. And
no, it might be something to do with their philosophy and setup. You know, they had a crew chief change on this team, and Todd Gordon might just have a little different philosophy that may not work well with the driving style of Keselowski. You know, maybe Brad drives a little bit harder on that right front, and he may have to adjust.
They both went around the 15 of Timmy Hill. He is several laps down, 7 to be exact, in 29th position. Left side of your screen, you can still see it is Harvick leading Elliott Sadler. That is 4th.
And a smoker there. Looks like Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Mike, the 01 car is smoking, and he is making his way towards pit road. We'll get in and out of the way before needing a caution. Whoa, Logano comes up on Sadler there.
And if you look up front there, Casey Kane's now pulled that gap down to a 2nd.
Okay, did Harvick, realizing he isn't going to win this race, did he just sort of give way to the faster 2 car?
Well, that's not like Kevin Harvick to do something like that, but it is his teammate. He's not racing for the points. Elliott is. And these are equal cars. They come out of the same shop, same engine, same chassis, same bodies. So he's just being a kinder Kevin Harvick.
Well, and he is pulling away a little bit. It would put him 8th in the points right now. Getting back into the mix, he'd be 32 points out of first. Let's get an update. Pit Road, Dave Burns.
And the only thing to consider here, guys, is that earlier we heard radio from Kevin about how they have not improved that race car all day long. That's not the case for Elliott Sadler. About halfway through the race, the change that they made to that car, he called a good change to the crew. That's one of the reasons why Elliott's so much better now. I don't think Kevin just let him by.
All right, thanks for the update, Dave. As we mentioned, Sadler has opened up some ground on him. Joey Logano now getting a little bit closer to that 33. Nothing has changed up front. Kyle Busch is 0.8 of a second in front of Kasey Kahne. And give you an idea of just how big 0.8 of a second is, there they are.
Well, it was 1.8 seconds about 10 laps ago, so he's able to close it down to less than a second. Kyle has had a lot of traffic to deal with, and Casey's had to deal with it too. So, kind of interested to see if they've got, if this tire strategy will pay off for Kasey Kahne. His car hadn't been right all day either, and he was kind of forced to make a lot of pit stops and tighten it up.
There'll be 10 laps this time by. And think about this. If Kyle goes on to win this race, it'll be 4 straight races going back to last year's sweep at Bristol.
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, this particular track is one of the most famous short tracks in the whole country, and Kyle Busch likes to win. And I can tell you one thing, he doesn't like to win any more else than he likes to win here. He loves to win this place because it's such a popular track, so prestigious when you win here.
Yeah, there's only one touring race last week. Kasey Kahne won that one in the Truck Series at Darlington.
And remember this also, no back-to-back Bristol winners in this series since Steve Grissom did it back in 1995.
Now, Kyle's got some heavy traffic to deal with these last few laps.
Kevin Harvick, as we mentioned, he's got his hands full with the 20, as you can see at Joey Logano. And Stenhouse is 14th, but he is 2 laps down in the mix.
Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano had a little dust up here last year on the last lap.
If you remember, Logano was running 5th. He got dumped by Harvick. He ended up 14th and was none too pleased about it. In fact, I asked him, I said, do you have a long memory on it? He goes, oh, no, that was a year ago. He says, we've had so many run-ins since.
These guys never forget nothing. I promise you that. It's in your memory bank.
You see, Kyle, you mentioned that lap traffic. There he is on the right side of your screen. Second car there, the 18.
Only got a few laps now. It's 5 to go. Kasey Kahne pushing really hard. Now, he won last week driving a truck for Kyle Busch. I don't think that's going to make him give him any courtesy here.
Yeah, he's been about 1/10 of a second faster than Kyle every single lap, so he's got time. And not much, though.
And we mentioned at the beginning of the race, it was Kasey last year. He had a great run going in that 38 car, got swept up in somebody else's crash.
Laps are ticking away. 3 to go.
3 this time now, and Kyle Busch looking at 2 more lap cars in front of him. That's James Buescher in the 34, and that he is 13th, 2 laps down, and Michael Annett. Annett is 24th, 4 laps down. They both give way. 2 laps to go here at the world's fastest half mile. And that may be all he needed. That lap traffic. Look at that. He jumped out on Kasey there. White flag is out. Well, one more time around down the backstretch. It'll be the 45th time in his Nationwide Series career. And remember, Mark Martin had widened that gap 2 weeks ago? He just closes it. It's down to 4. Kyle Busch with Kasey Kahne second. Coming home in third, Dale Earnhardt Jr. In fourth, Elliott Sadler with his best run of the year. Joey Logano rounds out the top 5.
A great run out of Kyle Busch. And another thing you got to...
Great car. You can do a burnout with this one. We're done with it.
They're talking about the engine. They reseal these engines so they run them more than one race.
Nice work. Nice work.
Vince is caught up with a very happy Jason Ratcliffe.
Well, Jason Ratcliffe and the Z-Line Designs Toyota making a path to victory lane. Everybody worried about the tires and how the changeover was going to affect the car. How did it affect yours?
Well, when we first put them on, it was off, you know. And as we got laps on the tires, it kind of even out for us, but the guys did a great job on pit road. We took some big swings at it there on that one stop and put what we thought was going to be our best set of tires on it for the end. And we just kind of, made our bed there and had to sleep in it or live in it or whatever you call it. And I can't thank Kyle Busch enough. The guy's just tremendous. The 38 had a good pit strategy. He was coming hard, but he got up on the wheel there at the end. You got to thank God for a great day. All these fans coming out here. What an awesome place to win. It's nerve-wracking, man. You're counting them down. I was just praying there wasn't a caution.
So many people talk about Kyle and his accomplishments. You've been alongside of him all the way. Today, 10,000 laps led in his Nationwide Series career. How do you put in perspective what it's like working with Kyle Busch week in, week out?
It's a blessing. It's just a blessing. That's how I put it in perspective.
Well said, Marty.
His 10th National Touring Series win here at Bristol. 3 now in the Nationwide Series, 4 in Cup, 3 in Trucks, and going back to last year's sweep, he's now won 4 straight races, could make it 5 again tomorrow, and yeah, that is worth another bow. For the 45th time in his career, he gets to do the victory burnout. The celebration is about to erupt for the 4th straight time here at Bristol Motor Speedway. As it is, Kyle Busch winning again. And there he is, Doc.
In a row at the High Bank Bristol Motor Speedway for Kyle Busch, reigning NASCAR Nationwide Series champion. And Kyle, another dominant performance here at Bristol. What is it about you in this place? I mean, you made it look easy, but I understand from listening to the radio when you put those right side tires on early on, the car was a bit of a handful.
It was. It changed the dynamic of the car quite a bit. And, we had to compensate for that driving style-wise, and then on our next pit stop, getting some changes made to the car. But Jason and these guys did such a great job. We played a lot yesterday with different setups and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it and what exactly we were looking for. I know the feel I need, but it's just hard to try to get it sometimes. And we got it there yesterday and felt pretty good about it. And then they had the tire deal, and we were a little nervous about it, but it worked out today. So I can't thank Z-Line Designs and Jim and Monica enough. They're here with us today, so cool to have them on board and win for them when they're here with us. NOS Energy Drink, Toyota. This Camry was awesome today, and Nationwide Insurance, fun series to race in, and then Marquis Jets, Gillette, and of course the fans. It's cool to come to Bristol and see this place, and of course, there's a lot of people here today. Hopefully there's a lot more tomorrow.
I know you may not be aware of this, and you're not really into records, but for the first time in the 29-year history of the Nationwide Series, a driver has now surpassed 10,000 laps led. Congratulations. What a record.
Well, I appreciate it. It's big, and anytime you're able to break any kind of series record with the likes of Sam Ard and all the guys that made this series what it is. Kevin Harvick in his heyday when he was really good just a couple of years ago, and then of course Mark Martin in his time and all the guys, Pearson and Houston and all those boys. So it's cool, and I enjoy it. There's still plenty more time, hopefully, to make some more. And y'all keep making a big deal that Mark got one away from me. Well, I caught back up one today. So there's still a few more to go before I get there, but I'm sure he's watching, and we're hunting him down.
All right, Kyle Busch picking up his 2nd win of the year, 10th overall at Bristol. And by the way, carrying the Red Cross Relief logo in honor and memory of so many who have suffered in Japan. Disaster relief efforts over there. Taking it to victory lane here, trying to remember what's going on and how difficult it is over in Japan. Marty?
Thanks, Doc. As the smiles of Kyle Busch, you can't wipe them away, as, boy, he has just become such a dominant force at this racetrack more than any other. 4 straight wins dating back to last fall's race, and who knows, they just might make it 5 again tomorrow. Back here at Bristol, let's get you caught up on the calendar because NASCAR Now will be on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern and again at Monday at 5 Eastern, both of those on ESPN2. American Le Mans Series presented by Chevrolet and America's premier sports car, the Corvette, tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on ABC. Our next NASCAR Nationwide Series telecast at California presented by CC's Pizza, Saturday 5 Eastern on ESPN, and then Sunday, the IndyCar Series. The IZOD IndyCar Series opens the season at St. Petersburg, 12:30 Eastern on ABC. Well, it was a very good day for Kasey Kahne, although he fell one spot short of victory. Let's talk to him. Jamie Little caught up with him.
And Kasey Kahne brings it home second today. So, Kasey, first off, you guys finished one. You and your crew chief, Stuart Cooper, you guys DNF'd the last 3 times. What was the difference today?
Well, we've been really fast here for a long time with a great Cooks car, and Stuart does a great job. The team did a nice job on pit road. We were really loose, but we've kind of made the right adjustments and got back there. And I had fresher tires than Kyle, so I could beat him a little bit in lap traffic. So it was exciting. We were catching him. I thought maybe we had a shot if we could get there. But it was a good run. Our whole Great Cooks team did a nice job, and Junior kind of opened it up. Him and Harvick got together, kind of opened it up for me to get up there to second.
All right, good run for Kasey Kahne today in the 38 Great Clips car.
Solid run for Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. Third place, came from a couple of laps down to get it. How good was that car today?
The Tax Slayer car was pretty good. I want to thank JR Motorsports for putting together good cars. Sunshine and all the guys from the R&D team on Hendrick helped on this car all weekend. I want to thank everybody for their effort there. The engine was great. HMS does a great job there. We worked on the car all day just trying to, get a little bit better, and I thought we had about a second, third place car. It had been fun to try to get up there and run with Kyle, but we didn't have enough at the end to beat him, so we were just not quite as fast. We got a little tight on the last run, but still a good day, and real happy. I had a blast out there racing today. Had a lot of fun.
Strong finish for Junior, third place, and Junior fans ought to be happy. He says he feels like he's got a good one for tomorrow, too.
All right, thank you, Vince. Check the points because there's a bit of a shakeup. Reed Sorensen's going to drop down to 4th after coming home today, 34th with that engine problem. Jason Leffler, for the first time in his nationwide career, has a 2-point lead in the championship chase. Ricky Stenhouse, despite his problems, still stays in that second spot. Justin Allgaier, 18 back, and you can see right on down through the top 10 in the points standings. And Dave has caught up with Jason Leffler. Let's talk to him.
Well, Marty, it's kind of wild if you think about how Jason got there. Started on the outside pole. Car wasn't great. Got you in trouble. Let me see. Almost ran out of fuel on the track. Rubbed your teammate and then got the lucky dog. I mean, can you figure out how you got to the championship lead here?
I don't know. I mean, we ended up 8th. It was really a solid day. We just had a hiccup there. Kyle came around and lapped us and was getting ready to come down pit road, and the caution came down, so that put us in the lucky dog. Or we had to race for the lucky dog, so I raced Reed really hard. But got to thank all the guys on the AccuDoc Chevy. They did a great job. Got to thank Hendrick Engines, everybody at Turner Motorsports, all the guys back at the Fab Shop, at the race shop, and Steve Turner for coming on board and giving us this great equipment. I'm pretty happy to be in the points lead. It was a decent day for us, and to take the best thing out of it was that we're leaving with the points lead. So we hopefully can keep it for a while and get our cars better, and I can get better behind the wheel, and we can win some races.
Turner Motorsports maintains the points lead this week with Jason Leffler. Jamie?
And Elliott Sadler brings it home 4th today, Elliott. So would you say you and Ernie Cope, your new crew chief, you guys are finally firing together?
We are. This is a great example of good team effort. Well, we had problems with the primary car yesterday. We blew a right front tire. We get a backup car out, did a lot of work to it, and Ernie and I worked very hard together last night and today to get a great top 5 finish. So we had a lot of people here from Armor Foods, a lot of people here from KHI. So we feel good to come here, have an uneventful race, get through the whole weekend with no problems, and come with a great top 5 finish.
We saw you battling with your team owner, Kevin Harvick. Was your car that much better, or was he just being nice?
My car definitely was better than his on the long run, and he'd gotten into the wall a little bit, and I think knocked his toe in, so he'd really got tight. And we were battling, and I was looking, I saw Joey coming, and I was like, okay, boss man, give me a little room here. We're going to have to nudge a little bit, but it's great racing. He races me like a competitor, but we work together so much as friends off the racetrack. I've definitely found a great home, have a lot of fun driving for KHI. And we're going to keep working on it. We had a great points day today, and we'll go get them in California.
All right, first top 10 for Elliott Sadler this year. Vince?
Solid effort from the 20 team. Joey Logano runs 5th today. And Joey, when I talked to you yesterday, you didn't seem too optimistic, but you hung in there today. The car seemed to be good on the long run. How was it?
Yeah, only on the long runs too. It was something we struggled with a lot of times, and kind of fought the same thing we did in the previous races here. We did the same thing, and it's too tight to take off. couldn't make big enough adjustments to get on the other side of the fence there. So after about 60, 70 laps, my GameStop Toyota was really fast. I just lost way too much track position on restarts, and it seems like if you start on the bottom, it makes it worse. So I only started on the outside, I think, twice the whole race. So, a lot of things didn't fall in our hands. But, either way, a fifth-place finish for us, for me at least, here is pretty good. I usually have the worst luck here. So we'll take it, and we'll move on.
2 JGR cars in the top 5. Joey Logano, 5th.
Okay, Vince, let's go back and show you also, we got Danica Patrick's side of what happened. She ended up 33rd today, the first time this year that she has DNF'd after this contact with the 99 of Ryan Truex. We heard Ryan say on the radio that he was accepting the blame on this, but we really hadn't had a chance to talk to him. We did get Danica's opinion on it. Give you this angle, and here you go, guys.
You can take a look at it. I mean, we're getting the back end of it right there, but it looks like Ryan came down just a little bit as Danica was coming up. In my opinion, they just both met together in the middle of the track. I can't put any blame on either one of these competitors. It's just the way you race at Bristol. Nobody did anything wrong. Dave?
Rusty, as many times as you've won, I know you've had incidents at Bristol, too, so stuff just happens here. Ryan, your side of the incident that ended Danica's day and kind of ruined yours, too.
It was my fault. I guess that's just racing at Bristol. We were fighting a loose car all day. I was wrecking sideways through the center of the corner and off, and we were racing there, and I just came off the corner, got loose, and as I was saving it, just came down the hill and got into her. My fault. I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't want for that to happen. I don't know if she thinks I did it on purpose, or I guess she's just mad because she was running good or whatever. But it was an accident, and I apologize, and I'll try to talk to her, see what she thinks, and just hate it for them. I know they were having a strong run. I hate it for my guys. We were having a great run today, and things just didn't go our way. Ended up a few laps down, but my fault. Sorry, didn't mean for it to happen, and I definitely don't try to race people like that. So I apologize.
All right, see you next week at Fontana.
Thanks.
All right, Ryan Truex, I don't think it'll dampen either driver's desire to do well next week, guys.
No, not at all. And Ryan, of course, as we mentioned, turned 19 just yesterday. Any final thoughts, guys, before we throw it over to Alan?
I think the guys learned a lot with the tire change. I really got to commend Goodyear and NASCAR. They made a fantastic move. They had no problems today with tires, and it was a good call what they'd done.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rusty, on that. And Goodyear did do a great job. But, man, somebody's got to stop this Kyle Busch guy. He is winning everything.
Well, I'll tell you what. Led every lap at Phoenix. Won here today, leading a total of 268 laps. Crosses over 10,000 total in his career. Unbelievable. So let's send it over to you, Alan, and take us on home.
Personal winning streak at Thunder Valley for Kyle Busch, now standing at 4 after he wins today's race. Race weekend last August here, the world's fastest half mile. On a Wednesday night, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race ended with Kyle Busch leading a lot and winning. Led the last 116 laps of that one. Nationwide Series race on Friday night of that race weekend. He and Brad Keselowski had a little bump, bang, and scuffle. In the end, Kyle was the one who celebrated after that. And went on to the checker flag and scored the victory there. That for Kyle Busch was his second Bristol victory in the Nationwide Series. The following night, on Saturday night, he just dominated the Sprint Cup race.
Yes, he did. I think we need Kyle Busch has to start in the back of the field from now on old tires.
It's 283 of 500 laps Kyle Busch led that night. And then on this day today, Kyle Busch out in front for the majority of the race. All but 32 laps Kyle paced. And so far this season, Kyle Busch has led 569 laps in the Nationwide Series 4 events so far. Second highest total is Carl Edwards with 68. Kyle Busch has been around for so long, it's hard to believe he's only 25 years old. When you stop and think about that, this kid's only 25 years old.
Well, he's been good for so long at such a young age. That's the thing. The guy is incredibly talented as a race car driver. A lot of fun to watch.
So Kyle Busch will go on with the rest of the Nationwide Series to California next weekend, where Kyle and Joe Gibbs Racing have been certainly strong of late. Our coverage presented by Cici's Pizza. That's next Saturday at 5 Eastern on ESPN from California. Next Sunday, the Eyes On IndyCar Series opener in St. Petersburg. That's on ABC at 12:30 Eastern Time. And coming up next here on ESPN is SportsCenter. Lots of hoops action to talk about. That is next on SportsCenter. Final thought from Thunder Valley today, big guy?
Hey, it's a great day of racing. A lot of clean racing. Guys ran side by side. A lot of fun to watch, and cannot wait to get to California. They're going to open them up 210 miles an hour off into the corner.
And I waited all day to say something about your Carolina blue coat.
Did you notice
Thank
my
you
blue
very
coat
much.
and my tie? I wonder if you noticed that.
I did, yeah. So Kyle Busch celebrates another win here in Thunder Valley. He starts 12th in the NASCAR Sprint Cup race tomorrow as he goes for another Bristol sweep.
Every corner, every lap, every decision you make is all about this big picture. Back it down, Once the fun right in the middle of the track, easy. The tires are up out of the racetrack. You know, we're just sliding around on top. Cut it right front. Yeah. Keep digging. Caution it down now. What are you doing? We have not made the car better once today. No, I'm going to tell you, we ain't doing a very good job. We got an electrical problem. It's missing and popping all over the place.
What the was that?
One of those things, dear. One of those things up the corner. Way to go, boys. Good job, Jason. You can do a burnout with this one.